I won't say thaw out, but try to adjust to the heavy snow as we brace for yet another one predicted, forecasted for into tomorrow and into Wednesday night. Good luck, everyone. You wanted winter, we got it. Well, right now it's about 16 degrees. That beats the heck out of zero this morning, so maybe it's going in the right direction. But we welcome you in on this Tuesday afternoon. We want you to have fun with us, and unfortunately, we start off with yet another postponement by the University of Memphis. Now the game scheduled for Sunday against Temple, now postponed, and it's really getting into the expiration date for the college basketball season, because we know Selection Sunday, which will be 3 weeks from that Sunday scheduled game, well, you got to get all the games in and the conference tournaments in and all that good stuff by then, because when they make the reveal, that's it. You're not going to play any games after that tournament's revealed. It would be useless to do so. Everything's got to be played before that date. Still buried in the snow at his house. Dave joins us from his house. And, Dave, I know at 4:30 we will visit with the commissioner of the AAC, Mike Oresco, and he has big decisions to make between virus, now travel difficulty for a lot of teams across a lot of sports. Oh, what a year. What a last year to be a commissioner.
Yeah, and the news today about the fourth postponement of this grouping, now the fifth total for the Tigers. It's just going to be impossible to make them all up, as you were alluding to, because that Selection Sunday is coming ever closer, and there is a tournament that has to be played in Fort Worth, and we'll discuss that with the commissioner. Yesterday, Penny alluded to the fact that he did not think that they could play this game. Now, this, remember, is a conference decision, so it is perfect to have Mike Oresco on today, the commissioner, at 4:30. But he said last night he wasn't sure that he would have 7 scholarship athletes available for the game against Temple on Sunday. And if he did, they would not have practice. He was hoping to get a first practice in by Saturday, the 20th, and the game, of course, was scheduled for the 21st. So that would have put Memphis at an incredible competitive disadvantage, not just because you might not have your frontline players, but because you would not have practiced except for one day. What is conditioning going to be like? What kind of shape will you have? Any kind of breath at all? And certainly there'd be no togetherness, which is really unfortunate. The only fitness thing they can do is players on their own and not at the gym, because they're not allowed in their own practice facility. So players have to go out and run around their apartment, I guess. So it's just about impossible, and it's really tough. My hat goes out to Michigan. They were off for 3.5 weeks. They came back and they looked tired against Wisconsin in the first half, and then they were unbelievable in the second half. And maybe that'll be the case for Memphis. I really don't know. But, this is a real disadvantage for it to occur at this time. And we'll find out if the commissioner is going to try to get the top net guys to play, the top net guys, for hopes of a second team to get into the NCAA tournament. And that would mean Memphis playing the 2 with Houston and 1 with Wichita State. I'm sure he would like for Wichita State, SMU, and Houston all to play each other to their 2 games apiece, because that would help the league get a second team in if there was going to be a second team in.
Ron Tillery will join us about 3:30. We'll talk NBA and the Grizzlies with Ron Tillery, the longtime venerable beat writer and NBA journalist, will join us at 3:30. At 4 o'clock, Brent Beard from down in Jacksonville will get his thoughts on Gus Malzahn to Central Florida and other things from around college basketball and our college sports, including college basketball, in a very important game tonight for the Florida Gators visiting Fayetteville. We mentioned Mike Oresco at 4:30. Bo Marchant on the NFL, the busiest and maybe the best offseason in all of sports. It's underway with every quarterback seemingly looking to go somewhere else across the NFL. At 5:30, we'll catch up on all the day's news, rounding into Taco Bell crunch time around 5:45. Dave, as best you can report without violating any anything that you've told somebody that you can't say, and without violating any personal stuff with any players. Is this a players issue with the University of Memphis, or is it administrators, team officials around them, or a mixture of both?
Well, since the video coordinator put it out on Facebook that he's had the COVID and that he had a bad bout with it, I could tell you that Brad Pope would say it is beyond just players. I know personally, I'm not going to name names, but there is certainly at least one coach who's been affected. There's been another administrator I know that has been affected, and Penny himself said he wasn't sure he had 7 scholarship athletes. So obviously it's multiple players. I know that Pope said that his symptoms were tough. Another one of the administrators was asymptomatic. I believe one of the coaches actually had a struggling time with it. So this is pretty far flung. And, like you said, we're not blaming people. We're not pointing fingers. But this all comes down to the East Carolina game. There's just no way around it in my mind.
There's not. Was it a player that was? Was it a player for East Carolina that was so radioactive? Because somebody was super spreader, wasn't it?
Yeah. And it's a shame. And maybe it was multiple East Carolina players or coaches. I cannot tell you how it was, but it certainly seems that East Carolina is the spreader of all of this, and they've knocked out. Tomorrow there's another game. I think it was East Carolina was supposed to play Houston. That game is canceled for tomorrow, and so Mike Oresco's got a really tough decision here because he is going to have to figure out a way to figure out a way to reschedule. I look forward to asking him about that and to asking him about the conference tournament and how they're going to proceed in Fort Worth, and would there be teams that might opt out, like a sure thing Houston that could opt out, which would open up the door, those sorts of things. Also, let's face it, we've heard a lot of rumors about BYU and Boise and all that other stuff when it comes to sort of expansion for the American, and so we'll get into that with the commissioner of the American coming your way at 4:30. I'll tell you, Brett, one thing I was just checking out because I was really looking forward to talking to Ron Tillery next segment. And I did not realize this, but when that new NBA second half schedule comes out, the way it appears is that the Grizzlies will play, I think, 32 games in 66 days, something like that. Almost every other day they're going to have a game.
Because their clock, their expiration date, it's really ticking as long as the NBA is still trying to adhere to being a partner with the 2020 Olympics that will be held this summer, of course, in 2021 in Tokyo. That's what's really compressing things for the NBA and really applying a lot of pressure on the NBA. We know in college basketball that Selection Sunday, it rings very loudly because we know that's the cutoff date. That's it. If you hadn't played the games by then, including conference tournaments, right, then you're not going to get them in. So yeah, everybody really pressure packed with scheduling and things. And Dave, back to the East Carolina and whether it was player or players. I said radioactive. I do not want to be melodramatic. I do not want to be overly kind of screaming headlines here. But it just shows what we've been through for the last year. If that players, whoever with East Carolina, if indeed that was the case, and we think it is, if they were that, if they were that infectious, heck, anybody near courtside better go get tested from that day.
That's probably true. But there was nobody near courtside. I mean, that is sort of the difference between the Grizzlies and the Tigers is that no one is down on those first few rows.
Well, I'm talking about even at the scores table, people.
Well, that could be, but if you look at those scores table, they are wearing masks and they are wearing shields. So I think they're pretty safe. Honestly, Brett, you're right. They probably should get tested, and I don't know if they do. I know that the Grizzlies bubble, that they are tested 3 times a week, and maybe those same statisticians, because it is a shared crew. The Tigers use the same people
really good
that
point.
the Grizzlies do, and maybe they. I want to say they are tested, but I'm not 100% certain on that. A guy like John Ganazzo, he could tell us because he's really the guy that sort of supervises all of the crews everywhere when it comes to statistics in this town. And I'm pretty sure those in that bubble for that are being tested 2 or 3 times a week. So I'm going to say they're probably pretty safe. But I'm going to tell you, you're right. I mean, whatever happened with East Carolina, they spread it to Memphis and then they took it to Dallas, and they've got SMU also sort of knocked out. So. And I don't know how bad the cases are at SMU or how many the numbers are. I've just seen that they are losing games too. And I go back to the dilemma the commissioner has. But if you're going to get that extra team in, you've really got to get the 4 teams at the top to play each other to have any chance of getting a second team in as an at-large, unless somebody beats Houston in the conference tournament or Houston doesn't play. And I don't know what will be the case with the committee. As I said yesterday when we were talking about this, it is very clear in my mind that the committee has to come up with some sort of guidelines as to what we're going to do about conference tournaments this year and those that we know are already going to be in the tournament.
Yeah, and I'm not averse to your idea of a team, since we've already used them as an example. Let's stay with it, because we know Houston's going to the tournament, whether they win the automatic bid through the conference tournament or an at-large bid. But let's say they pass on going to the tournament. We know we're going to pass, and they use your idea of a seed line punishment. Wouldn't that, but I'm not averse to that, but wouldn't that also throw the whole bracket into chaos? And you're facing a team, say you're a good team, and you're facing somebody like Houston that you wouldn't have bumped into them as quickly as you would if not for that seed line punishment they got by not going to their tournament. Is that fair to a team that would go to a tournament?
Well, that's a great point. Or how about this? What if Baylor and Gonzaga and Alabama, or let's just say every Power 5 absolute top-ranked team decides they're not going to play? Then what do you do? I mean, then the seeding's all screwed up. If you're dropping everybody a seed line or so, then there's no credibility to the whole tournament. So it's I don't know what you do.
And
you have to try to make these teams play in the conference tournament. Or here's what you do: you just say the regular season champion is the automatic bid, and we're going to seed from that.
And you're right. If it just totally went into flux, FLUX, if it went into total flux, then press star for asterisk for this tournament, and I just don't want anything to do with asterisk around sports.
Well, the way things are going now, even in the NBA, San Antonio today, 5 games have been postponed with 4 players having, I don't know if they're symptoms, but testing positive. So it's everywhere at this very moment, even though we're so close to really turning the corner on this whole pandemic, but we're not past it yet. And this is a critical stretch, and it comes at maybe it comes at an okay time, because maybe by the time we get to conference tournaments and all those bubbles, we'll be safe. But at the moment, you got all these teams in the American. You got a couple of teams. Well, you got certainly the San Antonio Spurs in the NBA, and you just had Michigan come off of a 3.5-week layoff. So these are times that make you think that we're going to end up with somebody who is going to get a bad rip job in the tournament and somebody who's going to get a real break, and then you're going to have people that are going to go, and rightfully so, asterisk, because, the way
and that's why talk radio exists.
I mean, the way it's going, though, that sure seems like that's what we're headed for, right? I mean, if you had said to me when, 2-3 weeks ago, before Michigan got it and everything seemed to be going pretty darn well, there weren't that many cancellations or postponements, I would have said this is all going to work. And when the Big Ten announced, we're gonna go to Indy, it sure made a lot of sense to me, and I thought everything was going well. But it's different right now. We are seeing, particularly in the American, real concern about how you're going to move forward and get your games in to make a legitimate opportunity for you to get as many teams into the big dance, and that's huge financially for the American as you can. And now that's in jeopardy.
I have something to make it through being stuck at home, something to make it through to enjoy all these sports, and that's the FanDuel app. That's exactly what you need for tonight. You're stuck at home. There's still a lot of sports on TV, college basketball, NBA, and one of the things I love about betting on basketball is you're always finding new player props or game props that you can enjoy so much at FanDuel. And what's cool about FanDuel Sportsbook is you can combine these props with other bets from the same game to score an even bigger payout. It's called a same-game parlay bet, and you can only find them on FanDuel. Player point totals, money lines, over, under, point spreads, rebounds, assists, block shots, turnovers, almost anything. Right now you can have fun with. New and existing users can get up to $25 back each day if you have a parlay fall one leg short with same-game parlay insurance. Yeah, you heard that right, and that's why we love FanDuel. It's easy to register. It's easy to find your bet. It's easy to deposit, and when you win, FanDuel, they do the right thing. They pay you your winnings in as little as 24 hours. It's your money. You've won fair and square. They get it back to you. Every day, some big odds boost, and every weekend, a lot of specials. Live betting, so much fun, easy to place your bet fast during a game. If you see a trend developing that you like, download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today to try a same-game parlay and use promo code CASH at sign-up. That's promo code CASH. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $25. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789. This hour of our show brought to you every day by the one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis, and that is Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all 2021 models, always special lease options. Like right now, you want a big SUV, go lease it right now at Lexus of Memphis. They are offering the golden opportunity February sales event. Drive in luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway. Wear your gloves and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2021 flagship LS500, and you will be looking and driving great. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design they make for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, that is the Grizzlies about to embark on a very difficult 4 games in 5 nights. They will face their old or maybe even more new rival. That's the New Orleans Pelicans and Zion Williamson. They will be without D'Anthony Melton again, who still has issues with his shoulder. Desmond Bane is not going to play in this game. He is still grieving the loss of his grandmother. We're told that she was really the person that raised him, so that was like his mother, and so he is grieving. We understand all of that. Maybe because of the loss of those 2 players, it is the Pelicans, even though they're in Memphis, that are the 1-point favorites. Of course, the Grizzlies are a game out of the playoffs at the moment, and this stretch could be important for the way the rest of the season unfolds. And then after that, when we get that next second half, they're going to be really busy. They'll be playing games almost every other day. Practices will be really, really short or non-existent. They're not even experiencing many shoot-arounds these days. They're doing a lot of film work. That's the only way to keep guys fresh and legs good, and that's what they're going to have to do, especially with 4 games in 5 nights.
My top story, it looks like baseball is at least going to try to start on time. Pitchers and catchers, some reporting today and into tomorrow, the rest of this week, slowly reporting for everyone around the game for the boys of summer. They're supposed to start for real on April 1st. Spring games are supposed to start, preseason games are supposed to start in 2 weeks. And the Marlins are saying they're going to allow at least 25%, or in Marlins world, full attendance for their games in Miami. That's about all they would have had anyway. That's about 9,000 they will have at their games. That's about what they've averaged through the years. But at least baseball is trying. That's better than it looked a month ago for baseball.
No doubt. I agree. Not top story of the day?
Not top story of the day.
Well, that is, again, the numbers with COVID. Shelby County, which is not vaccinating at the moment, they did get some at the Board of Education for some teachers on vaccination, on vaccines that would have gone to waste had they not been used. Had a bunch of people get in yesterday despite the weather, but until the weather gets a little bit better, the vaccinations are on hold, but we're close to 100,000 vaccinated in Shelby County. The case average continues to go down. There were 116 new cases this day with 0 deaths. That's good. And they are saying veterans that are 65 and above, veterans now, will be starting to get vaccinated when they start to vaccinate again. So that first movement of getting a little bit lower in age is going to take place, and it's the right way to go with the veterans. I'm very happy for them. So they are up next, 65 and older veterans. Otherwise, you still have to be 70 if you're not a special category already.
My not top story, with the prolonged absence now for Anthony Davis, the Lakers probably won't be the 1 or the 2 seed in the West. That's if the Jazz and Clippers, if they remain healthy, they will probably finish in front of the Lakers. But the Lakers, they still will be the team to beat, even after Anthony Davis shut down for at least 2 to 3 weeks. It's going to be longer than that. It'll probably be 1st of April before he's back. But whenever he returns, the team to beat will remain the NBA champion, the Los Angeles Lakers.
Well, that Utah team's pretty good. They just keep winning 8 in a row now. I love watching them play too. 23-5.
Dave, where are you on NBA player sports figures getting out there as kind of public service announcement? I know Adam Silver has volunteered this, but said they would not break any lines otherwise. But maybe sports stars getting out there to show communities, to show people it's safe. You're not going to, grow a third ear. You're going to be fine if you get the vaccine. Where do you stand on that?
Well, if somebody like Kevin Durant or Draymond Green or Steph Curry or LeBron James, any of the people that have a voice with the masses that people will listen to and that will act upon their advice, if that is the case, I am all for them jumping the line. I am not all for fit 25 to 35-year-old athletes jumping the line just to entertain people. But I am, if it is really going to steer people to make the right decision, or at least what I think is the right decision, and they are to be an example to assuage fear, then yes, Brett, I'm all for the stars getting vaccinated to show the community that they think it's the right thing to do because they can be persuasive.
I don't think you could do just stars. I think you would have to do for it to have the full effect. I think you'd have to do the whole league or leagues or around sports. And what we're talking about is a small number when we're talking about 1.2, 1.3 million vaccinations a day going out, and they think by this time next week we can be up around 1.5, 1.6. But I want to get ahead of the anti-vaxxers because I think they are mobilizing.
Well, there's other ways that you can persuade anti-vaxxers to get vaccinated. If you're an employer, you can make it mandatory. If you're the government, you can say if you want to get on an airplane, a train, a bus, you have to show a vaccination card. I don't think you have to cater to a league that would like it to continue safely to entertain and make their money. If it's to politicize and it is to persuade people to do what you and I both feel is the right thing, I get that. But I don't think you should be jumping the line so that they can continue their operations without pause. And that's basically what would happen here. If you had a few that were spokespeople, I get that. I'm okay with that.
Well, one of the leading anti-vaxxers in the country, and it was long before the COVID vaccine. It's any vaccine. It's almost any needle is from one of the most political, if not the most political names, families ever, and it's Bobby Kennedy Jr. And I think he sounds like a stark raving idiot every time he opens his mouth about it.
Well, I have a trust of doctors and medicine and science. I have all my life. I've never been burned by it. That's probably why I feel that way. But when they say that we have to all have it in order to get herd immunity, and I don't think we want to live like this for the rest of our lives. I don't think we want our children to have to live like this. I think if you've got a young child who's being educated now and is falling behind because they aren't getting their normal education, you would want everybody to be vaccinated, and you would trust the doctors. And I believe in them. And I just hope that everybody follows suit. You're not going to get 100%. I get it. And that's, I guess, the beauty of America is that we are free to exercise our rights. But in this particular case, when it's the betterment of all, and I'll give you a good example. You've got to get certain shots in order to send your kids to school. And we've not seen anybody over the years arguing about that. I don't see any difference between that and this in my mind.
I don't either. I mean, often to go on a overseas trip, you have to get certain shots or make sure you're updated. I don't see it either. When we come back, we will talk Grizzlies Pels tonight downtown FedEx Forum. That game's on TNT. We talk about it with Ron Tillery next.
Get happy with Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio. Weekday afternoons from 1 to 3 on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
The President's Day sales event is going strong at Gossett Kia on Covington Pike. 2021 Kia Forte $133 a month lease. That's less than $5 a day for a new ride. 2021 Kia Soul completely redesigned exterior and interior $149 a month lease. And 2021 Kia K5 just $182 a month lease. All 36 months with $3149 due at signing, and they all come with Kia's 10-year 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So let's conquer the cold and gear up for winter in your new Kia from Gossett Kia 1900 Covington Pike, or online at KiaCovingtonPike.com. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today. If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Cars. All 36-month leases, $3149 due at signing, 0 security deposit, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, $650 acquisition fee. Forte ME3 $19,038, MSRP $20,625, Soul M77 $55,638, MSRP $20,660, K5 MG $55,660, MSRP $25,725. Includes all manufacturer rebates and incentives. PF $695 excludes tax title and license. With approved credit, see dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 3/1/21. Dealer stock only.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be signs that your digestive system isn't working at its best? But taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil supports your daily digestive health using a special plant-based fiber called psyllium. Psyllium works by forming a gel in your digestive system to trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Start feeling lighter and more energetic by taking Metamucil every day.
Did you know that Metamucil's available in packets, capsules, and fiber thins? Buy them today at Walmart and Walmart.com.
The fun continues at Family Leisure with a brand new Factory Direct pool and patio sale. The new 2021 inventory is in. You got to get ready now and beat the rush. Become the first one to have your pool installed. They have spas in stock, and those are ready for installation right now, too. Complete your backyard with a new set of patio furniture, all state-of-the-art. Special financing available. Family Leisure, I-40 and Whidden Road, where family and fun come together.
Looking for a great place to deposit your money? Try First Bank. Competitive CD rates, a money market that moves with Wall Street prime and interest-bearing checking account options. Not to mention their friendly bankers who make decisions locally. To find out more, stop by one of First Bank's 3 local branches. 6482 Poplar Avenue, just east of International Paper. 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase. And 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or visit firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stat. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Wolochin and Brett Norsworthy.
Dave, you said it. I think a growing rivalry, and I think it'd be fun through the years, and the most natural one with the proximity of the two teams, and both in the South, both trying to make their way in the NBA between the Pels and the Grizzlies. That game's tonight at 7 o'clock at FedEx Forum. And I think, and my buddy Isaac Simpson, he is confirmed tonight will be the first Zion Williamson FedEx Forum appearance, first game of the year for the Pels. When they were going to come here last year, the season already stopped because of COVID and did not come earlier in the year when they played on MLK Day last year, and that was a pounding they put on the Grizzlies. But Zion and the Pels, they're there tonight to talk about it with us right now. Ron Tillery, the longtime venerable NBA beat writer and Grizzlies historian. Ron Tillery, please tell me your heat's working.
Oh, thank goodness it is. Good afternoon. We have
Good
power
afternoon.
And water and everything is A-OK. I feel bad for our buddy Dwayne Price, the Big D, down in Dallas, because they got hit hard too, and he has no power.
Oh, man. I heard Houston, Texas was actually 1 degree this morning colder than Memphis when we were like 3 degrees and with a wind chill of -7. So it is absolutely crazy. I do think this Zion and Ja rivalry, along with New Orleans and of course Memphis, is one that we might be talking about for the next 5 to 10 years, provided the two stars that I've referenced stick around. And I think both these teams have the potential to be pretty decent teams. You could say, if you look at just sheer rosters, of course, you can't really look at Memphis's because you're missing so many really important parts, but that the Zion's team might be slightly better, slightly ahead. Ron Tillery, what is your assessment?
Yeah, because they have a little bit more experience beyond Zion. I mean, the Grizzlies are heavily relying on, obviously, the success as individual players of Ja and Jaren. I like what Stat said about the proximity of the team, turning it into a rival. It's nice to see Atlanta come along as well with Trae Young. So they may have their pick between New Orleans and Atlanta of who they become rivals with. It reminds me of when the Grizzlies' grit and grind era began, and they immediately started locking horns with the Thunder. And there was a magazine cover with the 3 best Grizzly players and the 3 best Thunder players. The headline read, "Who's got next?" And so that was fun to watch develop as well.
Ron, you're right about Atlanta, but don't you? I think you would agree. I know you know the best rivalries, the best, fiercest, most competitive, get in everybody's face. It starts with playoffs. Wouldn't that start with a Pels Grizzlies playoff? Because we saw what the playoffs did just with Memphis and Oklahoma City, and for sure with Memphis and the Los Angeles TJ Simers Clippers.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a reach on my part with Atlanta because they're in different conferences. So, yeah, you're right. You got to play the Pels 4 times, and then you might hook up in the playoffs a 7-game series. So that one definitely has more potential.
I'm looking ahead, and they're playing. The Grizz are about to start a 4-game in 5-night stretch. A lot of this is because of early postponements and things of this nature. And then I want to say, I know they've played 22 games, right? So they've got 32, and in a 70-game season, they got 40 games to go. And if I read this correctly, they're going to play those 40 games in 66 evenings. This may be the most in a time when we're shutting guys down and we're load management and all this other stuff. But we didn't want to play very many back-to-backs. This is really going to be tough on these guys. I guess that's the trade-off for a 72-game season. But how taxing will this be, Ron?
Well, I have a couple of things about that. First of all, I think the league was very smart when they started up to decide to play games back-to-back. So, for example, even though the Grizzlies play 4 and 5 nights, 6 of their next 7 games are at home. And at the end of the month, the Clippers come to Memphis, and they play the Grizzlies back-to-back. The reason I don't think it's going to have much of an impact is because you're not doing all that heavy traveling. it's one thing to play 4 and 5 when you have to get on a plane and arrive to some city at 2 or 3 in the morning. It's another thing when you're just sitting at home waiting to play. And I can tell you this, guys would much rather play games than have to go to practice for a couple of days.
Yeah, well, no question.
But, if I could follow up on that, I've often wondered, when you're playing that many games, 82 games in the season with 8 exhibition games, that's 90 games before you start the playoffs, how important do you really think practice is? I can understand film sessions. I can understand actually walkthroughs the morning of the game, even though there are some. I don't think Taylor Jenkins is doing that much now because of this tightened schedule as it is. But is practice really an issue when you're playing in that many games?
Well, I think for younger teams, absolutely, because I just always remember the great Huey Brown saying that's when you do your coaching. You got to earn the trust of your coach in practice. Some of us always talk about, why did he put this guy in? Why did he put that guy in? Because he lives with him every day in the gym. He knows what he's capable of. And, like I remember people getting on Lionel Hollins for putting in Hamed Haddadi at times. Well, he knew he could get 6 minutes out of him, really good 6 minutes out of him because of practice. So, the league is getting so young. That's where your teaching is done, and that's where players get the trust of their coaches. And let me just say one more thing about the scheduling that I forgot. So San Antonio has to postpone 5 games because 4 players have come in contact with COVID. The worst thing I would hate to see happen is the league go into the playoffs or whatever the playing tournament is, and not everybody having played an equal amount of games. I think that was one of the bad things about the bubble.
It was one of the bad things about the bubble, and I think they're going to try to avert that. And Ron, I know the players now, everybody can't stand back-to-backs, but at this point, and we're going to visit with Mike Oresco in about an hour about college and the AAC, even if it takes it for college, if you got to play 3 or 4 or 5 days in a row, you got to play because everybody's got to get close. They have to in college. You have to approximate a close enough number. In the NBA, everyone's got to 30 teams have to complete 72 games.
Yes, I strongly believe that as well because, like I said in the bubble, and what made me think of it is San Antonio didn't get to play as many games. They had fewer games than any other teams that vied for that play-in. So I thought that was a bit unfair to them.
Well, yeah, I think it's easier for the NBA to do that too. If, for instance,
just 30,
San Antonio has to play a couple of three games in 4 nights to get it right, or they even have to go a little bit beyond. The league as a whole, if this happens to a bunch of teams, can say to the television partners, we're still going to provide you with product until we get to the playoffs, but we may have to delay the playoffs by a week or 2. Let's just say that's the case. I think those television partners would say, okay, Adam, we're with you on this. You're still going to provide us those time slots. We can do that. Whereas in college, it's a whole different animal. You're dealing with a whole bunch of different entities.
Yeah, and I always felt like in the modern day NBA, the scheduling was a bit overblown. I should say the complaints, because we're young enough, all 3 of us, to remember when NBA played 3 days and 3 nights. When they walked into their motels that you had to go in from the outside, when they travel commercial, these guys got it so good with the training, with the first class and 5-star accommodations. And they're young. They'll be all right.
I agree with that 100%, but I want to ask you, because the counter to that is this, and you've been covering the league for a long time. Back in the days when they have to take commercial flights and they slept in beds that normal people sleep in, not big people, and had to take showers in bathrooms that didn't fit big people, they didn't play as hard as they do now. They didn't play defense. They only played in the 4th quarter. What is your response to those people that defend having to sleep better and have more nights off and load manage because of that particular concept?
Well, I would agree with that counter argument if we were in the 80s and 90s when it was rough and tough. But they changed the rules so much, and this emphasis is on scoring. All these guys are doing is flying up and down the court, shooting the ball. I don't think it's nearly as grueling as the late 80s and the 90s. You're not playing against Pat Riley's Knicks or the bad boy Pistons. That brand of basketball is gone. It's probably gone for good.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar played in 80 games as a 40-year-old. He never played in fewer than 62 games in his entire career, played in 65, one other. That was the two fewest times he in games appeared for him, 62 and 65. And I think one of those years he had a broken wrist from decking Kent Benson, and deservedly so. I mean, he was the marathon man. He was 80, 81, 82 games almost every year. And now, I mean, you can forget it.
Right.
Play 70, even in a 72 season.
Jordan played every game.
Yep.
I don't remember Jordan sitting up. Jordan played a playoff game with 102 fever.
Yep. Jordan played
not
games.
really, as we found out in the documentary.
That's a good point.
Right.
We got to put some Chicago in this conversation. Jordan played 82 games in 9 of his seasons, 81 once, 81, and he was getting beat up. He was getting his butt kicked every night. So,
do you guys think LeBron is catching on to that? Because remember when the Big Three didn't play here, and he was taking nights off with Miami and with Cleveland. As this year, I don't think he's missed a game. I think he's making a point to try to play in every game.
Yeah. I think right now it's about his legacy. I mean, not that LeBron has anything to prove, but I think he's chasing certain things, kind of Jordan-esque, giving himself motivation. It always was said that Jordan found things to motivate himself. So I would agree with that. Yeah, I think LeBron is just trying to cement his legacy in the way he wants to.
We are
Ron, 11 games for the Grizzlies until the All-Star break, and then the second schedule coming out somewhere around 500, 6-5, 5-6, something like that. But before the break,
I haven't looked at their opponents. When I looked at the schedule, because I heard you guys talking about it, I did notice that they got the Clippers back to back at the end of this month. So I would have to see the strength of schedule. I know last year when there was a lot of talk about just let them in the playoffs, they're the 8th seed. I said, whoa. If they had to play out the strength, there's no way they would have made it. So I do think Taylor Jenkins and his staff is doing a good job with this group. I think a lot of the answer to your question depends on if they get Jaren back and Winslow. Now, you know what Jaren will bring. He's going to be back in the starting lineup. Justice is more of a wild card because he has yet to step foot on the court, and you just don't know how he fits in.
Well, it's funny. I was going to ask you, and I was going to preface it by saying, here's an impossible question for you. But from what you know and what you've seen, maybe back to his collegiate days, if he is truly healthy, how good is Justice Winslow, and what does he really bring to this mix with this group of Ja and Jaren? And I got to throw Jonas Valanciunas in there because the guy is getting double-doubles at halftime every single game. Yeah. I mean, he does not get his due when we talk about what this team is going to look like going forward.
Yeah, you're right, because and that applies to tonight, because when you play the Pelicans, you got to play physical, and he brings a physicality to this team as well. So he's going to be important tonight and going forward. I'll say this about Justice: when the Grizzlies made that trade for him, all I could really do was call people around the league who knew his game, and people were excited. I mean, I'm talking about well-known coaches and executives. They feel like the kid is super talented. When I talk about fitting in, I think he was developing more into kind of being a point guard, point forward in Miami by the time he got hurt. Well, he's not going to be handling the ball, so he's got to come off the bench and try to figure out how best to play with this group that's already established. So, but I just know there are a lot of people that says when he's healthy, He's a two-way player. He can shoot the ball and make plays going to the basket. So he's a talent, but, got to be healthy.
Got to be healthy. Ron Tillery, you stay healthy and you stay warm, and we will talk about the NBA and the Grizzlies with you next week. 10 games remain for the Grizzlies between now and the break, and we'll talk about it with you next week. Enjoy and be safe.
All right, you guys do the same. Take care.
Thank you, Ron Tillery joining us on Tuesdays afternoons. And, Dave, the Grizzlies start the first of 10 tonight to the break. And they play tonight at FedEx Forum, tomorrow night at FedEx Forum against Oklahoma City, Friday night, Saturday night against Detroit and Phoenix. So there are a lot of home games between now and the break, but they haven't been very good at home.
No, that's the most surprising thing. They're better on the road than they are at home. At home, they're 4-7. Look, they're trying to establish themselves in this little rivalry and also sort of this little game within a game of judging who's the better pick, Ja or Zion. And so tonight is the night you try to make a stake, because the last time they played, it did not go the Grizzlies' way by any means. I'm sitting in the Family Leisure Studio in East Memphis. You're sitting in Forest City. Of course, Drew is holding down the Family Leisure Studio in the Flynn Broadcasting Center, and we're happy to have Family Leisure with all of us. They've been a part of our show for a long time, and they are always coming up with fantastic sales, and of course, they've done that again. They've got the Factory Direct Pool and Patio sale going on right now, and I know when you look outside and you feel frigid temperatures, you're going, pools and spas. But you know what? It's supposed to be almost 60 degrees next Monday or Tuesday. So this too shall pass, and you can get in on the action with all the 2021 inventory now available and actually in Family Leisure. They got spas in stock. They're ready for installation when everything thaws out. The complete backyard patio furniture setup that you will love. It'll change your backyard. It's there too. Special financing available. All you got to do is get to I-40 and Whidden Road. Maybe not the next couple of days, but by the end of this weekend, let's hope that is the case. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. We've got our final segment of hour number one on another frigid day coming your way in just a minute.
Same great shows.
We welcome you back to Sports 56 Middays.
What's up? It's Sports 56 Happy Hour.
A new spot on the FM dial. Check out Sports 56 on our new FM home at 98.5.
All 75 months at 3.04%. Mirage MH 002682. MSRP 16865. G4 MHF 01572. MSRP 18360. Outlander Sport MU 004915. MSRP 24740. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only. Ready, set, start your new year with a new ride from Gossett Mitsubishi on Covington Pike. Get the hatchback hero in 2021 Mirage, $12,342 or $129 a month. 2021 Mitsubishi Mirage G4, 41 mpg highway, $13,997 or $149 a month. And jumpstart your journey in 2021 Outlander Sport, $17,938 or $199 a month. And these are not leases. You own your new ride. Plus, you get Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. That's Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Tired of waiting on your sportsbook? Waiting for deposits and withdrawals? No more waiting with Action 24/7. We're cutting out the middleman. Deposit or withdrawal in cash. Action 24/7 has more than 100 partners in Tennessee for cash deposits and withdrawals. Visit action247.com for a location. Cash deposits and withdrawals from your Tennessee sportsbook. Action247.com. You got action.
Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee. For problem gambling support, call 800-889-9789.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 115 years. You know, I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. So easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital. Or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut. Or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. Stock up heavy on all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
A lot of postponements, a lot of cancellations between COVID and the weather. All the leagues, all the sports teams are really having a challenge. We will visit with the commissioner from the AAC, Mike Oresco, at 4:30. If you've got a question you want us to ask the commissioner, text it in at 67129. And, Dave, we will ask it.
Yeah, that is a great idea. I know what I've got on the docket. I certainly want to ask him about if there will be a philosophy about the higher net rankings taking priority about playing each other. And I really do want to find out about the tournament and what he thinks about what the NCAA selection committee might consider. And then everybody's talking about when the dominoes might fall next, and he's not going to talk necessarily about that, but he could talk about the expansion rumors that we keep hearing that include Boise or BYU or a combination of the two. And I'll be curious to see how forthcoming is. They asked me, by the way, what I might be talking about today, and Mike is never shy or has ever turned me down about talking about something. So I told him that these things were on the table. But if you folks on the First Bank text line have any questions at 67129 that you want to probe, we'll be happy to ask that of the commissioner.
Dave, for Boise and or BYU, is that for everything? Is that all sports membership or just football?
Well, certainly you've got an opening in football because you lost UConn. And so you don't need both. BYU seems to be a perfect fit for just football. If you brought them both in, maybe you would play Boise in both. You could play them in both. It would certainly help the basketball league, frankly, because both BYU and Boise are in a lot of the bracketologies. So bring them on if that's the case. I'll do a little skiing next time I'm in Boise and this time of the year. And BYU, you can go over to Park City. So they would be good trips, I guess. You know, if you look at the Lenardi, by the way, he made it very clear in a story that was written in the Commercial Appeal, quoting Lenardi on the U of M. He just basically said there's only one way they could possibly be an at-large team, and that is they've got to beat Houston at least once. And at this point, if Memphis played Wichita State at Wichita State, the net ranking of the Shockers is now 78, so it wouldn't even be a quad one game. It would be a quad two game. But, you know, here's the crazy thing. You don't really know till the end of the year, because if Memphis beats them and then they go on a tear, Memphis has a tie break on them, and Memphis is second in the league. But that win could become a quad one win if they won out after that, because they would end up being better than 75th, and so that changes the equation of what that game becomes.
Yeah, because it's at the time you play them, but then that can change. You know, today the Tigers are 63 in the net. Houston way up there at 5 in the net, and you know sitting pretty. Alabama at 8. And when we visit with Brent Beard coming up next, I'm going to ask him this. Just like in football, the whole national image of the SEC in football, it is from a point of reference of Alabama. Whether you like it or not, that's how it is. And in basketball, it's Kentucky. And with Kentucky being, I think, bad, not just COVID year, throwaway year, wrong chemistry year, Cal missed a little in recruiting. No, I think they're bad. So therefore, the national image of the SEC is, it's without Kentucky, so everybody thinks it's not very good.
All right. I think that's that's true. But I think this is first of all, I think Alabama, Tennessee are really decent teams. I think they're pretty good teams. I think the league itself is interesting to watch because you don't know what's going to happen night to night. And I think it's pretty clear you're going to get 5 teams in. I mean, Arkansas, I wrote off a couple of. First of all, I thought they were going to be great in the beginning. Then I wrote them off, and now here they are. And they got a big game, as you mentioned a little bit earlier, against Florida tonight in Fayetteville. And they're back in the top 25. That tournament, provided everybody's healthy and that everybody can play. It's going to be really a fun tournament to watch. I think one of the better ones that we have seen because it's not going to be dominated by Kentucky. As you said, they're bad. And it's pretty wide open. And if you play an Alabama team on a night that they're not hitting, they're beatable. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Very.
You made a statement, and I know we'll get into this with Brent Beard, about Gus Malzahn, and we all think of him as an offensive guru, but how they haven't been very good offensively. And this is a little lead-in for Brent, who will be joining us here in a minute. In his notes, the last 6 years, SEC ranked offensively, Auburn ranked offensively in the SEC 8th, 10th, 6th, 8th, and this past year 11th. So
but he wrote a book.
And yeah, well, but you're right on with that. I mean, he is not the guru now. His team is built in Orlando to be really, really offensive. So that is going to be a lot of fun to watch. I'll tell you, this portion of the show is brought to you by Brian Elder Roofing Solutions. What a company this is. They've been around a long time, and they got the boost the last couple of years when Chris Price joined Brian Elder. And you can call either one of those two guys, and they will come out, and they will take care of you. If it's an emergency, they're there in a heartbeat. If this is all about checking shingles and making sure you're good, being proactive, they'll do that too. They brag they can check your roof from outer space, and they could, but they'd rather come out and see it. And when they do work, if it's really emergency, they'll absolutely contact the insurance company for you. And if it's just a minor thing, they do it really quick. And they're doing some contracting these days, too. So if you've got any kind of questions, just call them. It's free. They come out, and they will do this, and they only use the very finest of products on the market. They give you the no questions asked warranty, which is the best in the business. Just call 867-0303. You know that famous number now. Call Chris. Call Brian. 867-0303. That's Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions. We've got our first hour in the books. It's always fun when we talk either college football or college basketball with our friend from down in Jacksonville. And Brent Beard comes your way in just a minute.
Hey, we understand. With everything that's happening, with all the new regulations, maybe you're not ready to come and hang out at Sweetgrass to catch a ball game. We want you to, we really do, and we're open for you to do just that. But we're also offering the next best thing, the new Sweetgrass Tailgate Party Packs. Whether it's wings, house-made dips, sliders, or other Sweetgrass tasty treats, all you have to do is call us or go to sweetgrassmemphis.com to order just what you're dreaming of when you're dreaming of watching sports and enjoying some sweet, sweet Sweetgrass.
It may be cold outside, but your deals keep getting hotter and hotter, Jeff. Hey, let's conquer the cold and gear up for winter with the Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah President's Day sales event.
We got you covered, Randy. Let's talk. 2021 Kia Forte, $133 a month lease. 2021 Kia Soul, redesigned inside and out, $149 a month lease. And a 2021 Kia K5, $182 a month lease. All just 36 months, $3149 due at signing.
That's what I'm talking about, Jeff. Plus, every Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah comes with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah, 2680 Mount Moriah, or KiaMountMoriah.com.
All 36-month leases, $3149 due at signing, 0 security deposit, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, $650 acquisition fee, Forte, ME3 19038, MSRP $20,625, sold M7755 638, MSRP $20,660, K5 MG 005560, MSRP $25,725, include all manufacturer rebates and incentives, PF $695, excludes tax filing license, with approved credit, see dealer for complete details, offer valid through 3/1/21, dealer stock only.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
2021 is finally here. Might I suggest we start the wonderful new year with a makeover for your beautiful house. I'm Brian Elder. I'm a roofer. I fix roofs. Don't let them tell you that it has to be replaced when all it may need is some love. 867-0303. Let me love on your roof. I've made quite the reputation over the last decade as the guy to call after the insurance company denies the claim. Overturning a claim that has gone bad is an art form where you argue county code, manufacturer specs, and details of your policy that they have to abide by. So let me see it first. If I say it's a claim, it's a claim. 867-0303. Money is free at Brian Elder Roofing with 0% financing for half a decade. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you a quote right over the phone. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Hey, I heard that you just got a new car.
Yes, I sure did, and I could not believe how simple it was.
Really? Tell me what happened.
I bought my car at Cars Inc. They are family owned, and the choices of cars were the best I've ever seen. They even said they could price match with anyone and help me with whatever financing I needed.
Wow, it does sound like they know what they are doing.
Their family has been in the car business for over 30 years, and they're excited about being in Memphis.
Where are they?
5095 Cummington Way, and their phone number is 901-623-7180.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Ocean and Brett Norsworthy.
A lot going on the college sports scene. Of course it is. It's getting mid to late February as we're getting closer to NCAA tournament time. A big one tonight for the Florida Gators in Fayetteville. A huge one last night. I said it was going to be maybe the best game of the year in college basketball. It wasn't because FSU didn't make it one. They went out and pounded UVA last night. But also some college football news, and we always catch up on Tuesday afternoon with our friend down in Jacksonville, Brent Beard. He's on Twitter at Brent Beard, Beard. He joins us now. It's 14 degrees here. What is it there, Brent?
I'm almost embarrassed to say it's 65.
You should be embarrassed. You should be suffering like we are with wind chills in the single digits, for goodness sake.
Well,
and I cheated us out of a degree. It's 15 now.
Oh no! Well, listen, my prayers, thoughts are going out to and having friends everywhere in the South, and how freakish this is, frankly, and where it's going. That this can move on, but if it would just snow, it'd be one thing. But this ice is what's so dangerous with all this stuff. So. Hoping that it's going to be much better quickly.
Yeah, well,
did you see the bridge in Baton Rouge? And they said the travel time from one side to the other that normal is what and just moving traffic 6 minutes, 7 minutes took someone 7 hours yesterday.
Oh
whoa.
My goodness!
Wow.
Oh, that's terrible.
At one point this morning, I saw this graphic: 150 million people were under a winter storm watch. 150 million. That's almost 50% of the country was in some kind of winter storm watch. So these are wild times. What is the consensus? What are you hearing about the Gus Malzahn hire at UCF? Has the state of Florida gone crazy for it? You pointed out in your notes we just mentioned that if they're thinking this is an offensive genius, picking up where Heupel and where Scott Frost left off, just to read your notes again, 8th, 10th, 6th, 8th, and 11th, the last 6 years, Auburn's ranked in the offensive numbers in the SEC.
David Brett, this is a very average hire, frankly. Look, I know that he was one of the few coaches that were, frankly, available. And by the way, from what I understand, Phil Longo of UNC, the offensive coordinator, and Kent State, Sean Lewis, were also involved with this. But, I mean, the numbers that Dave read off offensively, or difficult enough. But, I mean, Malzahn averaged 4 losses a year when he was at Auburn. That's not elite coaching by any stretch of the imagination. He was 2-5 in bowl games, 8-17 versus Alabama, Georgia A&M. Never went in the road games involved with that. So it amazes me, guys, the members of the media who were trying to run him out on a rail at Auburn, and a few weeks later, he's all of a sudden Vince Lombardi. And people looking at him at having a real chance. Some of these national writers that he's going to have a chance now to win a national championship. That's not who Gus Malzahn is. Malzahn struggled at Auburn. And look, this is not fans, guys. This is beat writers that I heard from. Could not do anything about an offensive line. Could not recruit a tackle over the last several years to save his life, and really struggled in what everybody looked at his strength of developing a quarterback, i.e. Bo Nix, who really hasn't improved much during that time. But guys, many coaches have said your record is who you are, and to me, the most difficult thing for him is the average of 4 losses every year. Last year was no exception, and the truth of the matter is, because of the incredibly incompetent officiating, they should have lost 2 more games to Arkansas and also Ole Miss.
And Kentucky. Kentucky opening day. People forget it. Brandon, it was arguably 3 more, and I will go even further than that with Bo Nix. I think Bo Nix has regressed. I think Bo Nix, I do not know this, but I would imagine Bo Nix at some point in his college career at Auburn has looked at his head football coach in Gus Malzahn and his dad, Patrick Nix, and I'll guarantee you he's thought, my dad's a better quarterback coach than my head coach in the SEC, making all this money that he's making. I was on to Gus Malzahn early, and it's really easy to figure out now, but I was on to it early. At Arkansas, yeah, he was really good. It was called Darren McFadden, Felix Jones, and Peyton Hillis. He was really good as offensive coordinator at Auburn. It's called a guy named Superman. Some people call him Cam Newton. I call him Superman. And then when he got the head coaching job at Auburn, he became more ground and pound and reliant on defense than he did any offensive wizardry. And the new coach, Brian Harsin at Auburn, he's going to have to spend most of this spring breaking Bo Nix from the Gus Malzahn habits.
No doubt. And even Chad Morris was not able to help either. And Gus basically makes a statement yesterday about being free from Auburn and Auburn and now able to call plays again. And my thought of that was, look, Gus, you've been the head coach there. Who is keeping you from calling plays?
Right,
Jimmy Mauter.
Yeah, who made you? I think that's a bunch of baloney. I don't think he can screw up Dylan Gabriel. I think he's that good a quarterback. Right. And you know, you're talking about freedom. So the guy got $21.5 million without any kind of mitigation clause. So that's free. And now he's going to make $11.5 million on top of this. This dude is living a good life.
He is.
I do think this, though. He better go back to his old ways, because the team, and I've said this now a couple of times, that team at UCF is built to be an offensive juggernaut.
Right.
It is not built with any defense in mind. So if he tries to change that culture, he's in big trouble unless he gets his people in there in a real quick time frame.
Well, and the other thing that really saved Gus a few years at Auburn was Kevin Steele. Because their offense was the best unit on the field in some of the years that he was there. So, and he's not. And look, Kevin Steele's not going with him. Believe me, to Orlando.
Not a chance.
So, but look, I'm just, and I'm never amazed at the media's overreaction to anything. But calling Gus an elite coach, saying that he's going to win the national championship there, is just amazes me that anybody could print that.
Who would you have liked in that position? Who would have been the better hire? I know Phil Longo, Jeff Lebby. They didn't look at Hugh Freeze. We can understand why that might be. Who do you think was the guy that should have gotten the job if you had been Terry Mahajer?
I would have gone with either Lebby or Longo. Both those guys have done great jobs. Frankly, Brent can attest to the job that Lebby has done. I know,
and I can attest to how poor a job Phil Longo did at Ole Miss.
Yeah. Well, good points to both. Longo, they certainly had a good year this year during the time that they were there.
Sure.
I think the other thing that is amazed me is what I heard today about Tennessee really messed up by not getting Malzahn. That wasn't going to happen either. But I just look, to me, I would have gone to have gotten Lebby more than anybody else, and let him run that thing. I think he could have come in there with what he knows, and they would have not skipped a beat. Now, at some point, whoever you get your D coordinator is going to be important. Look, I have an affinity, obviously, for UCF. They're 2 hours away. We've watched them grow and mature over the last few years with Scott Frost and Heupel. My concern and my desire is that by the time he leaves there, that Malzahn does not push them back way beyond where they are now.
Yeah, if he does, it's always a critical time with realignment and expansion of conferences, and even expansion for, I don't know what that is.
Sorry, we've got an Amber Alert that went off on the phone, so we're fine now.
Okay, all good. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Yes.
All right, good. Brent, you're right. The between the end of the year firing and the hiring yesterday, it's amazing how much better a coach Gus Malzahn got. But we will see. It will play out, and they will open against Boise State. The idea that he's the better coach, and I said this yesterday, we had Matt Marshall, a good friend of yours, on. We had Matt on. The idea that he's a better coach than Dan Mullen, there is no chance in any, you know what, that Gus Malzahn would have done the job at Mississippi State that Dan Mullen did. None. Zero.
And I know his AD was just over the top, and he was excited when he said that Gus Malzahn is the best college football coach in the state of Florida now. There's no doubt, in my opinion, that Mullen is better. Two, frankly, I think when he really gets up and going, Mike Norvell will be better. So,
I was just going to say that same thing. There's no doubt. I think Mike Norvell is a better coach than Gus Malzahn.
I would try, if I was UCF, I would have trusted Norvell to run that program a whole lot quicker than I would have Gus.
There is no doubt in my mind. Yeah, Norvell is better. The question, I think the UCF guys was saying he thought Tennessee. You might have brought this up already, but he thought Tennessee was really going to take Malzahn, and they were really pleased because they think that Malzahn is a much better coach than Josh Heupel. Well, as you said, you're right down the road, 2 hours. Was that the right hire for Tennessee? Is Heupel as good a coach as many in Knoxville think?
I think what he will do a better job getting them going in the right direction offensively. And that's kind of where they are now in football in general is it's all about the offense. And again, we all three know that this will cycle back around at some point, believe it or not, folks, to where the defense is probably in charge again. But the reality is, too, to find and develop a quarterback and to get that offense under some kind of better direction. I think that's why. And again, I understand that Tennessee was at a disadvantage with the timing bit of it, but I think Heupel I think he can do okay there. Or if you're asking me, or SEC coaches, are they quaking in their boots? My answer would be no. With him coming there, but I think immediately what Tennessee needs is an offensive identity, and they'll get that from Heupel.
I agree. They need to establish something on offense,
Yes.
and we know what he will establish. Brent, it didn't take long. Urban Meyer probably set a North American land record for already having controversy at a new job. As great as he is, trouble always finds him, and it's usually at his own hand.
Urban really struggles with player and personnel decisions, and in getting the strength and conditioning coach from Iowa, Chris Boyle, in this climate for today, to make that move is just absolutely foolish. And he said, Urban said he vetted Boyle himself, and look, Brett's right. Urban is an elite football coach as far as X's and O's are concerned, but as far as just making decisions, it really is unbelievable. Some of the things that happen with this. He was roundly criticized about it. Should have done it. And look, I'm surprised, guys, that Sean Conn, the owner, didn't stop this thing in its tracks. Frankly, but it was embarrassing. He introduced his staff. Basically, every question during that press conference was about Chris Boyle in that situation. And Brett's right. It was just another huge mistake that Urban makes with personnel and or players that has followed him. And the question is down here is, will he ever learn from things like this?
Well, I wanted to ask you that. You go back a long way with Urban Meyer. You were there with him in Florida, so you know him quite well. I don't think anybody is going to question his chops as a strategist, as a recruiter, as a motivator. He knows how to get a football team ready. There seems to be, it's one of two things. It's either an arrogance that is beyond belief, or there is some sort of sensitivity chip that is somehow missing in him that he would let go on at Ohio State, but went on, that cost him his job eventually, or that he would be so, I don't know what the word is, lack of focus, or just not sensitive enough to realize where we are in this society, in this day and age, that you would hire this guy who is clearly kryptonite. Iowa was forced to get rid of him.
Right.
And you're going to hire this guy just as you take this job over? After what you came from, we all know why you were doing TV the last year and a half. Why would you do that? Why would you make that move? Is there something missing in him that we just don't recognize?
I think you hit on all of it. I think there's a real arrogance there. I think Urban is isolated and insulated from the real world a lot of times, as a lot of coaches are. And he is just not, he just wants to get an old ball coach to come in, and he's known Boyle for about 20 years, as he said, knew him at Utah when he was the number one strength and conditioning coach there. But how in the world, in this day and age, that with all the incredible issues that we've all gone through as a nation over the last few months, would you not recognize that if you hired someone with that kind of a past, the reaction that you would get from the media and also from the fans? I'm not sure, and we'll never know this, at least for now, but I'm not sure that some of the players didn't get wind of this, and they didn't call Shad Khan on it, the owner. But again, and I've talked to many people who've known Urban over the years, and I think you hit on all that. Urban thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, and that when he makes a decision, that should not be questioned, that he knows what he's doing in all football activities. But the reality of it is, as good as Urban is, and guys, I sent this out in a text to several friends when they hired Urban. I said he is an elite football coach, but he is a very conflicted and complex individual, and those things also or enter into his decision making, and it gets him in trouble often.
Florida Gator basketball tonight at Fayetteville against Arkansas. Then they play at home against Georgia, on the road against Auburn, and on the road against Kentucky. Tonight's probably the least important of the next four, but it would be the biggest win of the next four because of Arkansas's ranking and Arkansas's stature. Tonight, kind of must win for Florida to firmly get on everyone's bracket.
Yes, it would help them. Let's say this. I don't think it would keep them out of the tournament. I mean, they're 28 basically in the net rankings. Arkansas actually is 23rd, which is pretty impressive. But guys, again, Florida has lost so much time because of COVID. The sooner they can get back on the field, and obviously Keontae Johnson's not playing, their best player. We understand that with the heart situation from COVID. But Brett's right. It is incredibly important for them just to be able to get back in the game. Now I think they'll beat Georgia. Georgia's struggling. They do have a few good players, but not enough to make a big difference. And then the Auburn game could be difficult for them too. But yes, the Gators need to get on a streak. Now I've seen something aside like some of the Joe Lenardi and so forth. I think he's got them around a 10 seed, something like that. But frankly, they could certainly improve their mark over the next few weeks. Absolutely.
On the subject of basketball, we all know Kentucky's having a bad year. This could be the most wide open year, maybe the best SEC tournament we've ever seen. But my question for you is, who do you think is the best SEC basketball team right now?
Well, I think Alabama's the best team right now. They're a 9 in the net. Now, you asked me that. I'll also say, could Arkansas, Tennessee, Florida, or LSU, Missouri beat Alabama on a given night? I'll tell you, yeah, they could, frankly. Now, a lot of this is going to determine what Herb Jones is going to be and how healthy he's going to be. Scored 21 in the Georgia win. They need to get Bruner, their big kid, back, and they will, I think, next week. But guys, what's fascinating here, and obviously Tennessee's found themselves again. Arkansas certainly has. Missouri, since beating Alabama, has struggled. And I still think Ole Miss is playing well enough to where they may be able to get in. LSU, but people like Will Wade or not, that they're still 27 in the net. So
they got talent. They have a lot of talent. They should be better, actually, I think, than they are.
Yes.
I'm with you. I think Alabama is the better team, is the best team. But if they're so predicated on outside shooting, if they are off, crazy things can happen. Brent, I'm glad you're in your 60s. In the 60s, I mean. I'm talking temperature.
Both.
Not age.
He's both. He's both, Dave.
I know.
Yeah. Now, just remember, I'm much younger than my twin brother, Brett, okay?
3.5 minutes, right?
It's actually 2.
2 minutes?
Yeah.
That doctor worked quick.
That's right. I'm the, as Brett knows, I'm the youngest by 2 minutes, yes.
There you go.
Thank you, Brett.
Take care. Stay healthy.
Enjoy it, guys.
We'll talk to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You got it.
I love chatting with Brent Beard. He's fun. And he's brought to you in part because our title sponsor for this hour of the program is Homer Skelton Hyundai. and Genesis of Olive Branch, same building right there at the corner of Craft Road and Highway 78, the first exit in Mississippi. You get there, you turn left, and you will have arrived at the place that I think is the standard setter for the way car business should be done in 2021. It starts with product, and it's durable. It's so good. Every new Genesis, every new Hyundai gets a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Here's where they always go the extra mile. They now do, for all new cars, they give you complimentary a 3-year, 36,000-mile maintenance package. So they're going to change your oil. They're going to rotate your tires. They're going to flush out all the fluids and make sure everything's perfect. And then in a few years, it'll be a certified pre-owned, of which they're the best in the business 14 years in a row in the Memphis Metroplex. They've sold more certified cars than anybody else. This is all a team. 13 years, most of them have been together to make sure with the product they take care of you. Please go see for yourself. Get on Lamar. That's Highway 78. You'll be right there, and you'll thank me later, because this is the way car business should be done at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. We take the quick time out, and when we come back, we will head to Dallas. The commissioner of the American Athletic Conference, Mike Oresco, is coming your way next.
You have opinions?
I think they got a lot of athletic ability.
We want to hear them.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you.
Call us on the First Bank phone line at 360-8255 or text us on the First Bank text line at 67129.
It's February. Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. Are you considering replacing your air conditioning system this spring? Conway Services and Carrier have teamed up to make now the perfect time to replace that old energy-guzzling system. February is one of our slowest months of the year. Our warehouse is full and our crews are slow. So to spark business during these slow winter months, Conway Services is giving away Carrier 80% gas furnaces absolutely free with the purchase of a standard Carrier air conditioning system. That's right, purchase a Carrier air conditioning system during the month of February and get a gas furnace for free. If that's not enough, we'll include an April air cleaner, 10-year parts warranty, and a free Nest thermostat, plus 12 months interest-free. See why I call it February? And you know with Conway Services, you'll be receiving our award-winning service every time. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company today, and the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old heating and air conditioning system will come out and inspect it absolutely free.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together, so the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
The President's Day sales event is going strong at Gossett Kia on Covington Pike. 2021 Kia Forte, $133 a month lease. That's less than $5 a day for a new ride. 2021 Kia Soul, completely redesigned exterior and interior, $149 a month lease. And 2021 Kia K5, just $182 a month lease. All 36 months with $3149 due at signing, and they all come with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So let's conquer the cold and gear up for winter in your new Kia from Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or online at KiaCovingtonPike.com. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 36-month leases, $3149 due at signing, 0 security deposit, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, $650 acquisition fee, Forte, ME3 19038, MSRP $20,625, Soul, M7755,638, MSRP $20,660, K5 MG 005560, MSRP $25,725, includes all manufacturer rebates and incentives, PF $695, excludes tax title and license, with approved credit, see dealer for complete details, offer valid through 3/1/21, dealer stock only.
Need to sell your home? You're in luck, because I buy houses. All you have to do is call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pin, 901 406-1101, or just save it in your phone. Bill at I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses buys houses in any area, in any condition, at any time, as simple as that. I Buy Houses is guaranteed to close in 5 days. So if you need your cash fast, just call Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. Has your house been on the market? Were you just tired of renters? Or is it just time to start over? Well, avoid repairing, cleaning, painting, and prepping your house. Just pick up the phone and call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses. If you're in Southwind, South Memphis, North Mississippi, North Memphis, Collierville, if you can hear this, just call my friend, Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101.
Hi, I'm Tito Beverage, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. In 1997, I started the first micro distillery in the state of Texas with my dog, Dog Joe, at my side. We're still working with dogs out at the distillery after all these years. Learn more about how dogs are a part of life here at Tito's Handmade Vodka at vodkafordogpeople.com. Tito's Handmade Vodka is made from corn and naturally gluten-free. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Never easy to be a conference commissioner, but over the last year, no guidebook for a lot of this. A lot of the weighty decisions, a lot of the very important changing on the fly with scheduling, and of course the health concern for the student athletes, for the administrators out there, and a real friend to our town, Dave, getting ready to join us, and the commissioner of the AAC, Mr. Mike Oresco. We always love having him.
Yeah, we do. He truly is. And, he's probably dealing with the frigid temperatures because I think it's about as cold in Dallas as it is in Memphis. Mr. Commissioner, how are things in Texas? Good afternoon.
Hi, Dave, and hi, Brett. They're a little better today, although still very cold. It's going to snow again tomorrow. And I know things aren't great in Memphis either, and I hope everybody there stays well. I know these can be dangerous situations. It's interesting. I lived in New England for many, many years, decades really, and this would not be a big deal there. Having a few inches of snow and some cold weather, it just really wouldn't be because they're used to it and they deal with it. And here, of course, obviously in Texas, you've had the wind power go down because some of the generators and windmills have frozen, and I think there have been some issues with natural gas. And here it's just different. They don't have the ability to plow and to sand and do the kinds of things that you typically do. So a few inches of snow really and ice can really do you in here. And it's ironic too because we still have a few of our people in Providence, not too many left there who haven't moved down yet, just a few, and it's 55 degrees there today. So how's that for an iron?
Wow. That's great, dude. We're in the same boat. We've been negative with a wind chill here. It's never been colder or more snow. But we're muddling through, and, of course, we're dealing with COVID in Memphis today. And you know it because you're the one that has the final call on all of this. Postponed the fourth game in a row with the Temple game for next Sunday now biting the dust. Mr. Commissioner, I guess the most important thing that Memphis fans are thinking about is how you will work scheduling down the stretch here in order for your top net ranking teams to have a shot to get an at-large berth going into the conference tournament. Will you play the higher net teams against the higher net teams? For instance, Memphis has 2 games with Houston and 1 game with Wichita left. Will that be a priority if you have to reschedule?
It would be. I don't know yet what we're going to do. We're going to try to have everyone play everyone at least once on the schedule, but we absolutely would consider prioritizing games. We've talked about it. I, as commissioner, have certain authority to do some things to the schedule as we run out of real estate, down the road, because obviously that Memphis Houston game is extreme. Those games are extremely important to Memphis at this point. And there's some other games that are important. We have 4 or 5 teams that are probably, on the bubble. We're going to see whether we can reschedule we're obviously trying to reschedule these games without disrupting other games, but it may not be possible, and I may have to make some hard decisions. Obviously, the health and safety of the student athletes is paramount, and obviously we're not going to play if there's any doubt, and we're not going to come back too soon either. But yeah, unfortunately, Memphis has had a tough time, and we've had some other teams that have had a tough time. It's gotten a little worse the last week and a half. We had a period there when it was a little better, but you just can't tell with this, and you don't know whether this is the new more transmissible strain, which could cause further issues down the road. We're doing the best we can, and Brian Thornton, our basketball VP, has really had his hands full. Not exactly what he signed up for, but he's done a fine job trying to reschedule games. But now, as you know, we're just running out of time.
Running out of time with Selection Sunday rapidly approaching. And, Commissioner, with that, right now, are there still full plans for the men's conference tournament in Fort Worth with every team invited?
Brett, yes. We decided not to, to reduce the field, the bracket. First we felt everyone would want the opportunity to play, and if they opted out, they opted out. But we felt that everybody would want to play, and that's been the case. Everybody does want to be there. The second thing is, if we had reduced the bracket, if we then had issues with COVID, the bracket might end up being, so reduced that frankly we couldn't have a tournament. And obviously with the goal to have a tournament, we didn't want that to happen. We've been taking extraordinary precautions for this tournament because we know what's at stake. Obviously, the health and safety is paramount. Two, if you have positives, it could jeopardize a team's ability to play in the NCAA tournament, and that's obviously really, significant. And especially, when you have a team like Houston, which could get a very high seed. There were two in the a 2 seed in the preview, and could end up as a 2 or even possibly a 1. You never know. And they have a chance to go pretty deep. We have some other teams that potentially could make the tournament. And, the NCAA has some pretty stringent requirements, as you know, before you get to Indianapolis. So we're going to do it. We're going to test, obviously, 7 days. We're going to test before our student athletes get there. We're going to test daily when they're there. We've got our chief medical advisor who will be on site the whole time, and he can confer with our people, including me. Obviously, if we have issues, we've set out certain protocols. If we do have a positive, if we do have multiple positives on a particular team, what do we do? So we've really, we're taking all the operational precautions that we've taken during the season. We're limiting attendance to between 20 and 25%. We will have at least 200 and possibly more first responders who have been vaccinated in the arena. We're giving them free tickets. We think it's something we can do to honor them. We've been talking about this for a couple of months within the conference office, and we've gotten great cooperation from the people in Fort Worth. Matt Holman, the general manager of the building, has been terrific, and that we'll try to obviously promote the idea of getting vaccinated, so people who have been reluctant would see this and hope we can change their minds if they have any reluctance. So anyway, we're doing all those things, and the tournament's on right now. I can't tell you that we won't have COVID issues prior. We just don't know. We hope not, obviously. We also don't expect, though, any teams not to want to go. They want to go, and nobody, I think, wants to be off 10 or 12 days if they don't have to be, if they can play safely. But it will be you'll be holding your breath the whole time, as we have during football season and now in basketball season. And it's been tough in basketball when you lose, 20 to 25, 30% of your games, and you're scrambling to reschedule.
Hypothetical, Mr. Commissioner. Let's just say Houston, Baylor, Gonzaga, they know that they're going to be a 1 or a 2 seed. And they don't want to take the chance because they want to go to the NCAA, and Kelvin Sampson or Mark Few. This is my year. I don't want to mess with this. I know I'm going to get a good seed. Is it incumbent upon the selection committee to put out criteria right now if indeed an at-large, a for sure at-large, wants to opt out so they can play in the NCAA tournament, head to the bubble in Indy to be even safer, and what then should be the logic behind the tournament winner in their respective the Big 12 and the American and the Gonzaga conference.
Well, the men's committee has basically said we're just going to leave it up to the conferences, and we're going to rely on their desire to do what's in the best interest of college basketball, do the right thing, and they've left it. And we didn't know what they would do. We thought they might put in some restrictions. Look, if somebody doesn't play in a conference tournament, could it affect the committee's seating and possibly even whether that team is selected? Yes, I don't think anybody wants to penalize anyone for COVID-related issues. But on the other hand, in terms of the at-larges and the automatic bids, the committee has essentially left it up to the conferences. Now, we don't anticipate anybody, opting out of the tournament at this point. And what's to say too that if you stay home, you stay on your campus, that you're necessarily going to be safer than if you're in we don't have a bubble, Dave, but we've got a pretty tight situation in Fort Worth. And yes, you'll be playing some teams where we hope we don't feel there's been transmission on the court, but we're still looking into that. That's been the key thing. Transmission, has just as in football, it's come from other places, but that doesn't mean that you can't get here and and for whatever reason have a positive. But you could if you stay back on your campus too. And then there's the issue of whether you really want to sit for 10 days or 12 days, not play. That could be an issue. So at this point, but the committee has left it up to the conferences, and it could get interesting. There was that whole issue of bid stealing. If obviously a team didn't go that was clearly the favorite to win the tournament, and somebody else could potentially win. I mean, that's a real issue, and then we'll see how that all plays out.
Well, that could actually play to your benefit. If Houston took off, I don't know if the committee would say, and they have to say this on the front end, we're going to penalize you a seed line, but that way the American, and I think this is worth about $2 million to you, would get the conference champion, and Houston would be in the tournament.
Well, we're not trying to game the system, and we want everybody to play. I mean, I don't know what would happen if, in fact, we don't know what would happen. I mean, there may still be an AQ, but that isn't what we want. We want everybody to play the tournament if they possibly can. We'll see what happens.
In your wildest imagination, Mike, over the last year, did you think you would game plan for this many hypotheticals, this many scenarios, this many doomsday scenarios?
No, Brett. I mean, no one could have predicted or anticipated all that's happened over the last calendar year, essentially. But on the other hand, we're not out of the woods, and we may be looking at a similar situation in the fall. I hate to say that. You hope the vaccines can overtake the virus. You hope that the rollout continues to increase, and that we can get through this, and that we reach whatever herd immunity, whatever that ends up ultimately being. But if not, we're going to be in the same position. Spring football will be starting up, and the football players will be in that position. We have a lot of Olympic sports going on right now. Knock on wood, so far so good. Although we've had to postpone our swimming and diving, which was slated to be in Dallas, and we've got some really bad weather coming in tomorrow again, and then we've got other issues. So that's been postponed. But the point is, so far on the COVID front, we've been okay on Olympic sports, but we've got an awful lot of them, a lot of baseball to play, a lot of volleyball, a lot of soccer, a lot of everything, because we postponed the fall sports to the spring on top of those that are played in the spring. So I'm afraid that we couldn't have anticipated any of this. It's been a day-to-day, week-to-week thing. Our medical group meets weekly. We sometimes meet more than weekly if there's an emergency situation. And I tip my hat to them. I can't tell you how good they've been. And Dr. Franklin there, and you've just got some great people. And it's just been it's been a struggle. There's no getting around it. We're trying to do the right thing. We're trying to do the right thing for our student athletes. And we're taking the best medical advice we can get, and ultimately, we're going to see how it goes the next few weeks. We just don't know. But the one thing we do know is that this COVID strikes unpredictably. you think you might have a situation in order. Things have been good for a few weeks, and then a case might arise. And it's not just among the players, the student athletes. It can be a staff member. It can be a coach. And we obviously wish all the coaches and everybody who's had it well, because, some of them have had a real tough time with it. Tim Jankovic was talking about his bout with it and really struggled with it. So we'll just do the best we can.
I think a couple of members of the Memphis contingent that have been affected by it since the East Carolina game have had a couple of tough bouts with it. You're right, and all you can do is the best that you can do, and you have done that always for this league, Mike, and I tip my cap to you on that. Last thing for you, and this is in regards to the rumors that are out there, and they're out there, that Boise State might be interested in joining the American. The BYU might come in. Maybe it's football only there. I'm not sure. What can you share with us about any possible expansions? We know you're one shy in football.
We are, and I know that some internal emails at Boise sparked a lot of the publicity about this. Essentially, everything's on the back burner right now. I didn't. Even the last year, I didn't really want to rile up the community. We said we would look at expansion. We said that we would never identify anybody that we might consider publicly. We never wanted to go through anything like the Big 12 did. That took its toll on everyone, as you know, Dave. But essentially, we would like to get back to 12. I mean, I have said that a number of times. We like the idea of 12. And whether we would play divisions or not, I guess is I don't want to create a news story here, but we probably would create divisions again. But it's possible that we would decide not to. We've got a waiver for a couple of years to play a championship game at 11 teams, and down the road, we're looking for legislation. We're going to try to get legislation that would allow you to play your championship game any way you want. If you had a 12-team league or a 14-team league. I did say that would we rule out someday being at 14 teams? No, we wouldn't. We want this conference to be as strong as it can possibly be. I would never mention any teams that down the road might have an interest in us, but it is clear that as long as we can strengthen our brand, and there are a lot of when the whole Big East thing, Big 12 thing was going on, I don't know, dozens of schools had an interest in us, obviously, but we wouldn't do anything that wouldn't enhance the brand. As you know, we've accomplished a lot in the last 8 years. I still don't think this conference gets enough credit for what it's accomplished, what our student athletes have accomplished, what our football teams have accomplished with incredible headwinds. And Memphis is primary among them, an incredible football program that is the best it's been in decades, if ever. And it's been a sustainable program. And we've had that we've been good in basketball. We've been on the cusp. We've had a lot of bad luck in basketball during the tournaments. This year is a very unusual year. So, you're going to have to just reevaluate after this year, how we're going in basketball. But the point is, in the end, would we expand down the road if it meant that we could strengthen our conference? I have to quote, Jim Delaney, a good friend who, had retired last year. In fact, I asked Jim how he knew what was going to happen, why he retired when he did. He must have been clairvoyant to see all of the issues that you wouldn't have to deal with. But the point is, Jim once said, we're inactive but alert, and that's essentially what we are. If people have an interest in us, we would absolutely consider it. But I wouldn't put any stock right now in any of the things you've heard. But we'll see what happens down the road. But we'll play with 11 this fall. It's not an ideal number. It makes it a little harder to schedule those Thursday and Friday games. We also don't have quite as much inventory. We're proud that we were able to play 90% of our conference games, and we played non-conference games as well. We lost most of them, not through any fault of our own, but because teams just decided not to play those non-conference games. We did have some outbreaks, as you know. We had to get them under control. But overall, we felt that there wasn't any transmission on the field, that it was really, it came from other places. And for the mental health and well-being of our student athletes, they wanted to play. They did play. Memphis had an outstanding season again. We're really proud of Brady White and winning the Campbell Trophy, and what David Rudd and now Laird Beach, of course, have done with the program, and again, Tom before them. They've had a vision for Memphis football, which really coincides with the conference's vision. And last thing I'll say is, we're really pleased to have Gus Malzahn in the conference at UCF. UCF and Memphis have a healthy rivalry now, as well as Cincinnati among those teams. And to have him in the conference, we're kind of blurring the lines between our conference and the P5. We've got Dana over at Houston. We've got great young coaches that we've always had, and now we're getting some veterans from the P5. So, overall, I think the future's bright, but we've got to get through the pandemic, and that's still the top priority.
No doubt. Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. I could talk to you all day, but we're up against the clock. We appreciate your time today, and hopefully we'll see you in Fort Worth at the tournament.
Dave, thank you, and Brett, thank you, and I hope everything gets better in Memphis and everybody stays safe and healthy. Thanks again for having me.
That is Mike Oresco. He is the commissioner of the American, and we take this quick time out.
Do you know who I am?
Who are you?
I'm Superfly TNT.
Johnny Radio.
Where do you want to be? 1 to 3? Right here with me. Sports 56, 98.5, 96.1 FM, Monday through Friday. This is Sports 56 Happy Hour, your good buddy Johnny Radio.
The President's Day event is in full swing at Gossett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat on the Pike. And we're celebrating with 2020 Dodge Journey SE $19,990 or $249 a month. Or pump up your attitude with the 2021 Jeep Cherokee Latitude $21,740 or $277 a month. Or take your pick 2020 Ram 1500 Quad Cab Tradesman or 2021 Dodge Challenger XST $339 a month. It's your choice, Ram 1500 or Challenger. We Gossett at $339 a month. So drive past the rest and come to the best. Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat 1901 Covington Pike, or shop online GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Almost finance through Chrysler, all 3,500 cash down, 75 months at 4.19 APR. Journey LT 296,053, MSRP 26,860. Latitude MD 168,760, MSRP 27,805. 1500 LS 156,730, MSRP 35,185. Challenger MH 581,58, MSRP 31,160. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax on a license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 3/1/21. Dealer stock only.
Even in times like these, special occasions happen. And when an occasion calls for special, it calls for 117 Prime, Memphis's premier downtown dining destination. From the spectacular 36-ounce porterhouse paired with a Ferrari Corrado Cabernet, to the jumbo lump crab cakes, to the raw bar with oysters fresh off the boat from the Gulf and the East Coast, there is simply no finer dining experience in Memphis than 117 Prime in the heart of downtown. These are complicated times, but if you want simply the best, you want 117 Prime.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets, with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli, with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
A lot to digest from that interview with Mike Oresco, the commissioner of the AAC. You can go to our website if you didn't catch all of it. If you'd like to listen to it again, you can go to sports56whbq.com and hear that. It'll be at featured audio. I'm counting on pretty soon, right, Drew? And Dave, I thought one of the takeaways from him. You got it. Thank you, Drew. One of the big takeaways already sounding the alarm, and I think college football should heed this, is, look, spring, Olympic, everything matters, but better right now start preparing for college football. We cannot wait to 4th of July again this year.
Right. No, I agree. There were plenty of things to digest there, as you said it perfectly. One, he is going to try to schedule the important games from the higher net seeds. That was pretty clear. I'm not sure. He said we don't want to just game the system, but if Houston did say, why should we play? We're a 2 seed. Let's get to Indy. We'll practice in Indy, and that'd be good for the conference because they'll get somebody else in. I don't see why Baylor, Gonzaga from the West Coast Conference, heck, Virginia, if they walk away with the ACC, they just got roughed up at Florida State last night. But they may want to take that route. I can see that, and if you're a conference like the American, man, that gets you a second team in. That's big money. I don't know why you wouldn't. It is,
but what if the MEAC and the MAC and the Big Sky, they all did that? Then you're looking at a very watered down tournament, and that not anywhere near the best field of 68.
No. Yeah, but that's true. But not any of those other champions in the MEAC and the Southland, any of those conferences, would they have their regular season champion be an automatic for sure good seed? So that's why there's only a few conferences that would really have the ability to exploit the system that way. The other thing that got, I think was pretty clear that he said is that they're going to expand, and they're just waiting, and it's probably because of this pandemic, not going to happen next football season because he basically said we're going to play next year with 11, but after that, there's going to be some movement. There's no doubt in my mind based on the conversation we just had. You buy that?
I do.
Okay. I guess you're telling me it's time that we take our final time out here before we talk to Bo Marchand about the National Football League and the draft and everything else. This final portion of hour number 2 on this very cold Tuesday is brought to you by Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. If you're thinking about building a home when this thaw is over, he's your guy. If you're thinking about renovating your home when this thaw is over, he's your guy. He's been doing this forever. He and his dad, 50 years of Ken Garland Custom Home Builders. Go to the website, kengarland.com. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And know this, he's a rare guy. He sees little details, big picture, all at once. And he knows the commitment you're making, the financial aspect of it, the emotional aspect of it. This is why he works closely with all of his clients, ensuring they get exactly what they want and expect, which is quality construction on time, on budget. And if you want that renovation, all those modern amenities, but you don't want to leave your lot in your home, he's the perfect guy for a renovation with innovation. You want California closets, you want the big island in the kitchen, you want the newest in audio and visual. He's the perfect guy. Please give him a call at 901-751-1632. 751-1632. You'll love chatting with Ken Garland from Ken Garland Custom Home Builders. Back in a minute, we'll head to Youngstown. We'll talk some NFL and a whole lot more with Bo Marchand. He comes your way next.
This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Marks Bensdorf Realtors. When I talk to people about selling their homes or buying one, my motto is stick to your game plan. I learned this from my friend Coach Terry Tippett. Coach, you didn't go into a game without having a plan, did you?
No, Sheldon. Having a plan was critical to the success of all my teams.
That's right, Coach. Sticking to your game plan helped you win 4 state championships.
That's wrong, Sheldon. It was 6, just like the number of shots you make on a par 3.
Well, Coach, we've played golf together. What advice can you give me about my game?
You probably need to stick to real estate, as you're much better at doing that. Or perhaps bowling.
Great advice about real estate, not bowling. And as I always tell people, if they're thinking of selling their home, talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers and let me be one of them. As they often say, when you want the job done, Coach, who should they call?
Sheldon, of course.
You can reach me at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. That's 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com.
All 75 months at 3.04%. Mirage MH 002682, MSRP 16865, G4 MHF 01572, MSRP 18360, Outlander Sport MU 004915, MSRP 24740. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
Ready, set, start your new year with a new ride from Gossett Mitsubishi on Covington Pike. Get the hatchback hero in 2021 Mirage, $12,342 or $129 a month. 2021 Mitsubishi Mirage G4, 41 mpg highway, $13,997 or $149 a month. And jumpstart your journey in 2021 Outlander Sport, $17,938 or $199 a month. And these are not leases. You own your new ride. Plus, you get Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. That's Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
More time at home means more washing, drying, cooking, and cleaning at home, and more wear and tear on old appliances. But it's the perfect time to save on new ones at the Home Depot. For savings on the latest appliances, and right now, free delivery. From the kitchen to the laundry room, that upgrade is well within reach, and closer than ever. Save on top appliances, now at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. U.S. only while supplies last. Free delivery on major appliances, $396 or more, valid through February 24th.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Final hour on this frigid Tuesday. Just like yesterday, the admonition is simple. Go slow, be courteous, be considerate, and be extra safe out there. And listen to us and let us take you home, and we will try to entertain you. We got 1 hour to go on this day, and then into the night. Already 15 degrees feels better than it did at 0 this morning. Drew, you say you can't feel any difference. I swear, I think my house is warmer today than it was yesterday.
Anything below 20, it might as well be 5 below because it all feels cold. Cold is cold.
Everything, Lambeau Field. I sent a picture of my backyard to a friend of mine. He goes, when did you move to Green Bay? Well, I haven't moved to Green Bay. This hour of our show brought to you every day by DeSoto Auto Sales. They're on Goodman Road at 5704 Goodman Road. When that sun comes out, you're going to want a new car, and this will be the place to go. 662-890-7184, online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. All the cars checked out from bumper to bumper, head to toe, no shortcuts taken, a kind, courteous staff that will treat you like family with a laid-back, down-home environment. No high-pressure sales, but they care about your time. They know we live in a world today that time really matters, and that's why they want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience. You walk in, test drive your car, credit approved, paperwork complete, and you're gone in less than 45 minutes. In time to do it, even on a frigid 15-degree day, you'll be in and out of DeSoto Auto Sales. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area. Go online again at DeSotoAutoSales.com or give them a call at 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales. Dave, the NFL next year, 32 teams. I can't wait till opening week. It'll start on Thursday in Tampa. The league will pick up a big premier game to showcase the Super Bowl champion Buccaneers, hopefully in front of fans in Raymond James Stadium. we know if Tom Brady – well, we think we know Tom Brady's going to come back and be the Buccaneer quarterback. But out of 32 teams, I'm calling it now, 14 different starters from the year before in the NFL at quarterback.
If I could just say this, I can't wait until next week. This breaking news that comes from the commercial appeal, vaccinations in Shelby County starting next week for those that are 65 years and older. So I'm moving into that category next week. Next week, I should be able to get a vaccination. How about that?
That'd be fun. Bo Marchant joins us now to talk NFL. Bo, what do you think of my proclamation, my declaration, next year, opening weekend, 14 different starting quarterbacks for teams from opening day 2020?
You know, it might sound a little bit high, but when you really look at the product of each quarterback on each team, I think it's a fair number. I mean, you might want to put the over-under maybe at 11.5, but I think 14 could get you there. I mean, when you look at the landscape of the National Football League and you look at each conference, I mean, you could probably count 7 or 8 teams that we know need quarterbacks. And then you could start going through all the other teams. You'll probably put about 10 or 11, 12 teams that don't like the quarterback they have. So, I mean, you are talking about almost half the league that aren't happy with the quarterback or they need a quarterback. So we have never seen anything. We're on a different journey now with the NFL. We've seen coaches go for it on fourth down more, but even the way teams trade now, they're not obsessed with draft picks. They're, you know, we see the Rams, they're more worried about the player they want, and they'll do anything they can to get that guy. They're not worried about picks. Teams are more, lenient because you have fresher, younger faces that think differently from the old school guys. So I think it's fair enough. 14, it could be high, but you're dead on, Brett. I mean, you're not far off. Trust me.
Well, I'm just looking at the standings, and I just like the first two in the AFC that I look at in the East. Well, Buffalo's keeping their quarterback, but we're not sure about Miami. We're not sure about New England.
But Miami's going to have a different one because Tua didn't start opening day last year.
Oh, okay. So that's fair. That's in there, but he might not even be the starter this time. Anyway, I think Ben's going to be the starter in Pittsburgh. I know Baltimore and Cleveland are set, and I think Joe Burrow's set in Cincinnati. The Titans are set. Indy's going to have a different quarterback. Houston could probably have a different quarterback. Jacksonville's probably going to have a different quarterback. The Chiefs are going to have the same quarterback. The Raiders are probably going to have the same quarterback. The Chargers.
Denver's they'll have the Chargers will have a different starter, but they'll have Herbert.
Yeah,
but they have a different starter than opening day because Tyrod Taylor started last year.
That's true.
But New England, and there are two teams. Denver, those two teams, all three of those teams, I don't think are happy with their quarterback situation.
No,
New England needs a quarterback.
Washington will have a different quarterback. The Giants won't. The Cowboys, well, Prescott would be the original starter, right? If he's there, but we don't know that for sure. Philly
if he's there and if he's healthy.
Will the Green Bay Packers have a different quarterback?
No.
The Bears? Will the Bears have a different quarterback?
Yes, I think so, Dave.
Did they have one last year?
Jeez. Wow, those are fighting words there.
I mean, Detroit's going to change. New Orleans is going to change. And
we don't know
that.
Is New Orleans definitely going to have a new quarterback, or is Breeze going to come back?
Well, Breeze is going to retire. There's no doubt about it. And we also know Carolina will have a new one. I mean, you can keep going. I guarantee you I'm not going to be far off. I won't miss it much. And then always the chance of that late camp, if we have a preseason game injury to a big name. I don't want it to happen to anyone, but what if something like it happened to Trent Green in St. Louis and Kurt Warner step in? We have about one of those every year. So again, different from last year, there will be a goodly number.
Yeah, well, going off what you said and counting the starters who won't start, I mean, you could look at Indianapolis won't have Rivers. You assume Minshew won't start in Jacksonville. Did Burrow start in Cincinnati day one?
Yes, he did.
Okay, so Burrow started. I mean, you figure Wentz, different guy in Philly. I mean, I think a different guy in Chicago, a different guy in in for the Los Angeles Chargers. I mean, right there is how many? I mean, New England.
And let Daniel Jones stink it up in preseason, and I guarantee you Joe Judge is thinking now's the time to do this.
What about the 49ers?
They'll have a different one from Jimmy G.
I think the Niners are
England.
pushing. Yeah, I think the Niners are secretly. I think they're pushing to move Garoppolo out, and I think it's he hasn't been able to stay healthy. He's still cheap. They're not paying him a king's ransom like some of these other quarterbacks, like a la Carson Wentz, where they're trying to move him, but they can't because of salary. But when you look at Garoppolo, I mean, he's been banged up, and if you're the 49ers, you have to look at yourself and say, we know hopefully we get our D line back. We have that prominent front that helped us go to the Super Bowl. But I mean, when you look at Garoppolo, I've been 2017 5 games, 2018 3 games, 2019 the year they go to the Super Bowl. He plays the entire year in the postseason. He comes back in 2020 and plays 6 games. And we talked about it before. He was hurt when he got his first start in New England when Brady was suspended. He was going to be there for 4 games. He plays 2, gets hurt, and then Jacoby Brissett takes over. So, I mean, I loved him coming out of college. I loved his release. I remember being down at the Senior Bowl. I was so impressed with him. Doesn't mean I don't like him anymore, but when I'm looking at the quarterback of the future, I think it's kind of hard to say, hey, this guy's going to be the quarterback of the future. So I think if the 49ers can move him, I would not be surprised at all if he's one of the quarterbacks that is in a new uniform come next season. I'd be very shocked, put it this way, if he remains with the 49ers.
It makes sense if he goes to New England because he knows their offense too.
Yep.
Can New England win with him as the quarterback? I don't think he gets his due. I think he's a better quarterback than many people give him credit for.
Yeah, I think he's a fantastic quarterback, but then availability is almost as good as ability, and the availability has not been there. So that's where if he was able to put back 3 seasons of 15, 16, 14 games, I think the 49ers would have a different perspective. But I think for them internally, you have to look like, hey, we've had this guy for 4 years now. We're going on 5, and what are we going to get now? And he's going to be 31 in November, so he's not a spring chicken. It seems like it because he had a couple years where he sat behind Tom Brady, so we think he's a lot younger than he is. But I think he can succeed in New England. But New England has a lot of missing parts. They have to do a lot, and Belichick's kind of been a miser with the money. I mean, they have a ton of cap room, but you don't see him spending big money in free agency, and that's just not their style. But I do think there's a point where, the cupboards are a little bit bare, as I always like to say, and, you're kind of losing the mojo. Tom Brady left, and, people are wondering, who wants to go into New England now? So you got to spice it up. You got to pump some life back into that franchise. And it's hard to think that, 1 7-9 season after the greatest run of football we've ever seen. But, it's a win now mentality, and, Bill Belichick has to kind of maybe change a little bit of his ways without Brady there. That, I guess bring those free agency type guys who maybe, hey, what, where can I go? Where do I want to play? Brady isn't there now. Do I want to, hear the horror stories of playing in New England and some of the things we go to if we're not going to be winners? When you're winning, you're willing to do anything. If you're 7-9, you'd rather go somewhere else and play.
Bo, how quick should we jump at Ben Roethlisberger back on opening day for 2021 for the Steelers?
I wish I had more insight for you. I still think it's a 50-50, maybe, I'd say 65-35. He could, I think he comes back, but until where it's confirmed, I still think there's so many variables. I mean, Marquise Pouncey, that is his guy. And I remember 2 years ago when he mentioned, we went to the combine and, we had to deal with, he was talking about retirement. He played the year. I remember his last game. I asked him, are you going to retire? And he said, I'll be here as long as Pouncey's here. I remember him saying that. I even had to go back today through my quotes because I was, looking for that. And so if Pouncey's gone, Villanueva's probably not going to be there. That's going to be a makeshift offensive line. No James Conner, no possible Juju Smith-Schuster. Does he want to come back and get beat up? I don't know. Will he last?
No Randy Finkner?
Yeah, no, great call there. No offense coordinator he's accustomed to using. So there's a lot of interesting questions. And, I try to keep my pulse on it as much as possible. And I say 65, 35, 60, 40 range where he does come back. But if there's a conference call tomorrow and, he's announcing something different, I wouldn't be shocked. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of a lot of what ifs. We all know that. I mean, big contract, old age, different looking team in 2021 from what he's accustomed to seeing this past year. So a lot. Yeah. Physical. But down the stretch, I mean, he's still the best option I think they have, in my personal opinion. Mason Rudolph has had opportunities. I don't know if he's really brought that sense and that pulse that you kind of like to see out of a lot of other guys. We see a lot of guys coming into this league that don't have a lot of recognition, and you could just kind of sense it. They may not be, Drew Brees or Tom Brady. They might not even be a Gardner Minshew, but they have a pulse, and I don't really know if you ever got that sense seeing Mason Rudolph so far.
I have to ask you, since you mentioned Randy Fichtner, and his son, Nathan, is a grad student at Memphis involved with athletics. Has Randy found a place to coach anywhere? Usually once you're in that league and you get to a pretty esteemed position like an OC, you're going to end up somewhere. I haven't heard a thing.
I haven't heard anything myself, but that doesn't mean it, won't happen. But then it's he could want time off. I mean, college, these guys, it's easy to get picked up. It doesn't take long, and he's been around, he's had success, and these guys are, they know one another pretty well from different teams. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I know me personally, doing the Zoom calls during the pandemic, you got access to assistant coaches like you never had before. And when they would bring him and Butler on each week, you could just sit and listen to Fichtner talk all day. I mean, he was just so thorough and just, really went into depth with each question. He was just so complimentary to all the media. And, I think everybody media-wise, you had to be endearing to him because he was just so polite and he responded with such great questions. You were never going to ask a question where you got a 3-line answer. You're like, well, we play the Patriots, or, we like running the ball. You never got that. You got a thorough, genuine response.
Bo, you mentioned Gardner Minshew and Minshew Mania in Jacksonville. If he's the starter opening day and Trevor Lawrence isn't, then if I'm Shad Khan, Urban Meyer, I may fire you after opening day because we got some jerseys and tickets to sell.
Yeah, well, Jacksonville has the good thing about what Urban Meyer's stepping into is, one, they won one game, so that's the bad part. But I think
only one way to go.
Yeah, there's only one way to go. They have the most salary cap space. They have the picks. They have they have ammunition to do a lot of different things. So I think the ideas and the possibilities, if they're lucky and they can hit on early decisions quickly, you could really see a quick turnaround. We're not saying 10-6, but go 1-15. I mean, you could see a real nice 6 to 7 game turnaround if those pieces can fall into place. But like I said, the cap money. And, with so many quarterbacks up in the air, I mean, they can elect to go through the draft. They can trade draft capital and get a veteran guy. People think, Deshaun Watson. I still think at the end of the day, it's going to be a king's ransom to get, Watson out of Houston. I think they're going to do everything. I think as they should. I mean, you're talking about one of the premier players, not always the quarterback, but in the entire league. I think do everything you can to, keep him in-house. But with that said, if it doesn't come to fruition, I mean, you've got to think Jacksonville might be one of the better places. You think Florida with no tax, he can go there. That's more money. So, there's a lot of things that these guys can think about in terms of, wonderful place to play. You're still in warm weather in Jacksonville, not far from Clemson where you played your collegiate ball. You just go north a little bit and you're watching home games with Dabo Swinney again. So, Jacksonville, Urban Meyer, they have a lot of different ways that they can approach that quarterback position. And I wouldn't be surprised if Gardner Minshew makes it. I'd like to see Gardner Minshew in Pittsburgh, or maybe get a shot in Washington. I'm enamored with him. I think he has, good ability. Like I said, if he wasn't a late draft pick, he would get a little bit more respect, but he was drafted so late. He has that vision. People look at him, but he can't be a good football player, but I think he can last.
Just by sheer statistical odds, wouldn't you trade the number 1 overall pick for a proven commodity every time? Every time. I don't see why you wouldn't go crazy. We know that Watson is going to be a great quarterback wherever he goes. No doubt in my mind about that. And as good as Trevor Lawrence has been, You know, there have been other number one overall picks that are taken that did not live up to the billing, and so there is a statistical odd here that says he could not be great. But you know that if they make that trade with the Texans, the entity that you get is proven. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and I would go that route all the time. I mean, that's why when the Raiders traded Khalil Mack, you look at what's the worst part of the Oakland Raiders or the Las Vegas Raiders. Sorry, I've been watching that 30 for 30 too much. That Las Vegas Raiders team, their defense is still horrific, and they got all those draft picks. They took, Colin did. They took, the safety. They took all these guys, and they're still bad. You go all that trouble, I think you're better off. Khalil Mack's still a game-changing franchise-type defender, and to get rid of him, draft capital, it sounded nice. Wow, we got all these picks, but at the end of the day, you have to find that talent, and it's hard. And we each year we go through draft season. I mean, look at the Rams with Jared Goff. I mean, he looked like he was poised to be a great quarterback, and they've already given up on him. That was the number one pick of the draft. Carson Wentz was taking a pick behind him. Now, they want Jalen Hurts to be their guy. I mean, it does not take long, especially in today's NFL where quarterbacks are just, hey, you need to not only perform, but you got to be beyond good. I mean, if you're not on the level of Brady and these guys now, we're starting to see it. That's why we talked at the top of the show. 14 teams, nearly half the league's going to have a different quarterback. Teams aren't going to wait around for you. If you can't step in and take over and be productive and win games, they're going to find somebody else who can. And it's a different league that we're trending towards, especially at the most popular position, the most dominating position. But again, you have to really, really be on it. If not, you're going to kind of be thrown to the wayside and find another city to play in.
Where will J.J. Watt land? He's never played in a big game in Houston. He's been there forever. He's mostly been malcontented the whole time. I can see Deshaun Watson wanting to power play out of there, but J.J. Watt, I know a good player, but please, somebody tell me the big game he's ever won.
Yeah, we could all talk about that. It's never happened, and he's vocal. He talks about being there and, winning and having the attitude. I think Cleveland could be a fit just because they have the money and, teams are interested in him. But when you really break it down, it's kind of like the girl in the bar, the prettiest girl in the bar, just say that's J.J. Watt. I mean, everybody might want to buy her a drink, but she's going to only take a drink from the best available teams. And, the teams with the most money, when they come calling, that's where he's going to go. So I think Cleveland could be a good fit. We don't know where Oliver Vernon's going to go. He's coming off the ACL. So, you think, and I don't think we know this. I think he knows this, or at least I hope he knows this. That J.J. Watt's not an every down guy now. He needs to be a guy that comes in and plays on a limited snap count to be most effective. And I think that's another thing where he goes is I don't think you're going to see him, maybe just because he might demand a little bit of money, but I think at the end of the day, he's going to be most productive as a situational guy. And I'm not saying just on third down, but not an every down defender like he has been. But I think Cleveland, in my mind, just because of the cap, I do think after this, AFC Championship game, the mindset is not win now, but they have a lot of pieces in place. Will it be enough to beat the Chiefs? We don't know, but, they played them pretty tough without Patrick Mahomes, but nonetheless, I think Watt, if that's be a good fit. Pittsburgh, we know his brothers are there, but they don't have the cap space to bring him in. And I think that they like the guys that they have, and and Hayward and Steven Tuitt. So I think that would be a far-fetched idea, but it's nice to think about three brothers all playing on the same team. But if I had to bet right now, I'd say Cleveland would probably be the leader in the clubhouse.
Well, last thing before we let you go, what are you hearing about preseasons next year? Will there be exhibition games? Will the Players Association really push hard for much less of that and OTAs, seeing the quality of football we had this year without any of that?
No, I think we're back to a normal schedule. I mean, I know the Pro Football Hall of Fame announced their kickoff, the Cowboys and the Steelers, and all the invites. I mean, they're planning at this point, barring some setback from COVID-19, that they're going to be full go, and that preseason will go forward. So you got game one in the books, and I've heard nothing to deter that. So maybe next contract, that might be something that's touched upon. But I think as of now, we're going to get back to the normalcy of a Hall of Fame game in Canton, and then followed by 5 preseason games. And the Steelers and Cowboys will have 6 under the belts when that opener kicks off in Tampa.
All right, my friend.
Bo, thank you for your time today.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys, man. Stay safe, get your shots, and all you folks out there, again, like you guys said at the top of the show, take your time. Nothing better than getting home, kissing and hugging the ones you love. Don't drive crazy. Don't drive fast.
Yeah,
thank you, Bo. Talk to you next week.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That is Bo Marchand, brought to you in part by Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch, and Genesis of Olive Branch, where they have G70s, they have G80s and G90s on the lot. They're still trying to keep the SUV because that GV80, as soon as it gets on the lot, Vinny Gerard sells that darn thing. It's the most awaited, I think, vehicle Genesis has ever made, and it's living up to the billing. It is, as some have written, about a $300,000 car that you can get for anywhere from $50,000 to $70,000, and it is outstanding. Well, all that Genesis product is, and every Genesis and every Hyundai. Well, at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch, you're going to get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. But on top of that, you're going to get a 3-year, 36,000-mile maintenance package. That's complimentary because they want to take care of you, and that's what they've been doing. For 13 years, this team has been together. They have raised the bar for the way car business should be done. Please go see for yourself. Head on Lamar. It's Highway 78 when you get to the very first exit. In Mississippi, it's Craft Road. Turn left and go see my friend Chris True and all the game at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. We're back in a minute, halfway home of hour number 3 on another frigid Tuesday of Sports Time on Sports 56.
Listen online anywhere, anytime at sports56whbq.com.
Looking for a great place to deposit your money? Try First Bank. Competitive CD rates, a money market that moves with Wall Street prime and interest-bearing checking account options. Not to mention their friendly bankers who make decisions locally. To find out more, stop by one of First Bank's 3 local branches. 6482 Poplar Avenue, just east of International Paper. 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase. And 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or visit firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC.
Do you want a greener, more weed-free lawn? If you're like me, you can't stand the sight of dandelions, clover, or especially crabgrass. Hi, I'm Brandon Hawley, president of Lawn Solutions. We are your locally owned and operated weed control and fertilization company. We are also experts in disease and insect control on your lawn and landscape. Our uniformed technicians are full-time, year-round licensed and certified by the state of Tennessee. Lawn Solutions' personalized service is far more superior to that of national companies that promise but simply cannot deliver. We return phone calls, we keep appointments, and we want your business. What we will not do is bother you with endless phone calls or junk mail. Lawn Solutions will not sell you something your lawn doesn't need. If you're looking for a local lawn care company to kill your weeds and feed your grass, then Lawn Solutions is the finest. Call us at 867-5626. That's 867-5626. Or go online at LawnSolutionsInc.net. From our family to yours, we want to thank you for your business.
If you're going on vacation, making a college campus visit, or if business takes you out of town, there's just no better place to board your dog than Barks and Recreation, 965 Ruddock Cove between Bud Davis Cadillac and the Blue Plate Cafe in East Memphis. Boarding, daycare, grooming, we have the best of everything at Barks. Indoor-outdoor kennels so your family member can go in and out as they please. Indoor and outdoor play areas. 4 walks a day. Group play and individual attention from the best staff in the Mid-South, which includes an overnight staff to ensure the safety and comfort of your pet 24 hours a day. All reasons to choose Barks and Recreation above all other boarding and daycare facilities. BarksDaycare.com or 509-0909. Check us out and make your reservations now at BarksDaycare.com. If your dog could speak, he'd say Barks.
The President's Day event is in full swing at Gossett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat on the Pike. And we're celebrating starting with 2020 Dodge Journey SE $19,990 or $249 a month. Or pump up your attitude with the 2021 Jeep Cherokee Latitude $21,740 or $277 a month. Or take your pick 2020 Ram 1500 Quad Cab Tradesman or 2021 Dodge Challenger XST $339 a month. It's your choice, Ram 1500 or Challenger. We Gossett at $339 a month. So drive past the rest and come to the best. Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat 1901 Covington Pike or shop online GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Almost financed through Chrysler, all 3,500 cash down, 75 months at 4.19 APR. Journey LT 296,053, MSRP 26,860. Latitude MD 168,760, MSRP 27,805. 1500 LS 156,730, MSRP 35,185. Challenger MH 581,58, MSRP 31,160. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax on a license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 3/1/21. Dealer stock only.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Again, if you'd like to hear Commissioner Mike Oresco that was with us about an hour ago, you can. You can go to sports56whbq.com. Featured audio, it's there. Thank you, Drew. Great job as always. And a lot forthcoming from him, painstaking decisions that will have to be made in the next few weeks on basketball, men's and women's basketball, and then the spring Olympic sports, baseball, things that mean a lot to those youngsters that are participating in that, and then the big one, football. But the big one right now for them is just try to get the Tigers back playing, Dave.
It is. And I don't know when that will be. I know it will not be Sunday. That game with Temple has now been canceled. That's the fourth game in this stretch. If you go back to that first Temple game, that's 5 games that have been canceled. So you were supposed to play 27. You're down to 22. What did we say the over-under was probably going to be 24? I hope that's the case, but I'm starting to wonder about that now.
12-6, so just to get to 24, it's simple math. Have to get 8 more. 12-6 to get to 24. You have to get 8 games, or 6 games. Yeah, you have to get to 6 games, and that's going. Wasn't so simple math, was it? But it's going to be difficult to get to it without another week played. Next week, if you can't play on Sunday, you're going to be right back out there on Monday. You got to have a day or two of practice, Monday or Tuesday. Then Wednesday is the scheduled Tulane game.
Tulane game, right.
So,
well, there's days that you could play with here because you play on that Wednesday, the 24th. You don't play again until Sunday. So you could play a game somehow, some way on the Friday, the 26th, and most likely that would be a Cincinnati game that you just missed. So that could be one makeup. You got a game on March the 3rd, which is a Wednesday. So I unless you play a back-to-back, USF is scheduled for that. Maybe you would play if you were trying to figure something out here. Maybe you'd go to Wichita State to play in the 3rd, and then go to Houston and try to play on a Saturday, Sunday back-to-back. And that would be, so you'd play Wednesday, be off Thursday, play Friday and Saturday against Houston. Well, or maybe that game could be moved to Sunday. That Houston game, though, is supposed to be on March the 6th, and that's the game on CBS National. So I don't know if they'd want to give that up, but you could play. That would end up being, 3 games in 4 days? I don't know. That would be something you might have to consider.
You have to consider it all the above. And Dave, I think they might have to go back to back, but then the whole protocol of testing, because I don't know that this is how this happened with East Carolina players, whatever, was so highly infectious, but I'm guessing probably was testing negative the day before and the day of the game, and then almost immediately, that night or right after the game, is when they were infectious and infected other people. And if you tried to do back-to-back, you could really create a storm of positives if you didn't have a little bit of time in between games.
Well, the other aspect that kind of worried me was, he said something about possibly a different variant, which may be more contagious. I don't know, but he did say something along those lines. He did not identify that was the case with the Memphis East Carolina stuff, but he did mention a different variant. So
and Dave, I'm not at all assigning blame because look, we've learned this year, radio and other officials deemed not as important to go on road trips. I understand that. That's fine, both on the health front and on the financial front. But it really did kind of smack that day watching the Tigers on opening day against St. Mary's in South Dakota when they were being extra careful. It was really just who mattered being there. And because of everybody kind of dressed the same, either with a polos or a pullover, kind of the entire official travel party sat behind the Tigers bench. And I know I remarked to you in private, and I think I even did on the air, boy, it was a lot of people on that trip. And, maybe for the men's basketball tournament, really tighten that down, maybe even roster, the proverbial 12th man. You need to stay home. The maybe not so important third or fourth manager. Do you really need to take all those people on every trip the rest of the way?
That's an excellent point. And they may trim that. You may have one administrator, two managers, and just your coaching staff, and that's it to go with. And you could say sorry to your walk-ons, but you're not coming. And that person's just going to have to understand for this year and this year only. That's the way it's going to go. I didn't have the time to ask him if radio would be allowed in for these games, or if we'll be doing those from a radio studio that we've been doing, and that could very well be the case. I have not heard any kind of final notification. I think they were leaning toward letting radio go the last time I checked, but that could all change now with these late outbreaks. I don't know. What is the, if you know, what is the SEC policy going to be for local radio at the tournament this year?
I do not know, but I would imagine if anybody tried it, you would have to have them almost bubble in radio and TV land, with the studios or the broadcast positions being completely apart from the playing area, nothing near courtside,
right?
And like you or the voice of Mississippi State or the voice of Arkansas, the voice of any of the voice of Davidson, you don't stay at the team hotel. So if you are carrying, you don't infect anybody on the basketball team. And for older people that usually are certainly more older than the youngsters that are playing, for their own safety, have them kind of bubbled and cordoned off from the youngsters.
Well, the interesting aspect is if it's done like they are doing on road games, because the American allows radio teams to travel. Only a couple are. Tulsa is doing it. Wichita State is doing it. Memphis opted not to. Most opted not to. But when somebody comes, they're on the opposite corner in a suite way up. And you could easily do that at Dickies Arena. You could put people up either in suites that were not sold, and basically you need two per game, right? And then you'd have your other two waiting for the next game on the opposite side and switch those off, and you're never near. When we do our pre or our post game, it's all done now via cell phones into the station and out. So you're not in their bubble, and honestly, that is a good thing, because I could be sitting with the same problem based on the spread that has taken place after the East Carolina game, with so many people on the Memphis side, that had we not been separated, and they did that to protect the players, but it also protects us, and we're seeing that in action. And that could be the case of what they would do wherever those conference tournaments are going to be, especially if they're only selling 20 to 30% of the arenas, which is what Mike Oresco told us.
Yeah, and as he said, he doesn't think there will be a lot of team-wide opt-outs, but he could see where it could happen. I mean, you could get into I'll use the SEC, for example. We know Auburn, with their preseason declaration of self-imposition, that they're not going. So that first night of games when 11 plays 14 and 12 plays 13, it's just going to be one game because everybody's going to move up a peg. But what if in South Carolina, that's had a battle with it all the entire season, only played 14 games when most everybody else has played upwards of 20 and up? What if South Carolina said it's just been too big a scuffle? We're going to bow out. Well, then the domino effect. Yeah, if it's too tough for South Carolina, Vandy decides to. And as Mike Oresco said, if you had that a lot, then it really imperils having a tournament, because why to go to that much trouble for 4 or 5 teams to play each other over 2 or 3 days?
Really. Part of this may be in the case of the American, and we did not ask Mike this, but he's made a commitment to Dickies Arena and the Fort Worth Entertainment District to have a tournament played there. And last year was supposed to be the first year. I think it was a 3-year deal. So this is the second year. I know they want to come up with something, but it's really not going to be the same for Dickies Arena anyway, because you're talking about 20 to 30% of the arena, and that's it. So you're really not getting the full extent of what you normally would get. You're not going to get all the parents coming. You're not going to get the buses with the bands and everybody else. This is going to be totally scaled down. So I don't know what the right answer is. Like I say, I mean, if I were a sure thing, Houston, Gonzaga, Baylor, maybe Virginia, where Villanova, where that you are a surefire anywhere from 3 to 1 seed, and you don't think you're going to get penalized by opting out.
Well, I'd sure do.
You want to get your team to Indy in a bubble so you don't take any chances at all of getting COVID, and you get to play in the NCAA tournament. I don't know why you wouldn't do that. And frankly, it wouldn't make any difference, honestly, for the ACC or the Big Ten or the Big 12. It would for the American, though, because it would guarantee a second team in.
And Dave, then you start that domino effect, and we're using scenarios that I don't think are that far-fetched. I don't think we're being hyperbolic whatsoever, but you kind of get it coming and going. You get it with the top team saying, hey, we're playing for next week. We're playing for Indianapolis. We're playing to win it all. Then you get the bottom teams scenario, like I just mentioned with South Carolina and Vandy and their scuffles. Well, you get it at the top and they don't show, and you get it at the bottom if they don't show, then you don't have these tournaments.
I agree. It's a tough call. You're trying to get as many people there as you can, but like you said, what is Vandy going to go for? Really? Do you think they care about playing in that tournament, or South Carolina has really struggled? Do they really care? I'm with you. I don't know.
I don't think so.
Does Tulane really care about playing in the American Athletic Conference tournament?
East Carolina. The
ECU's
kind of scarlet letter they've become.
Yeah. Do they really care? And they take a chance on infecting people? As long as you have a couple of days worth of games, I guess it's okay. Because the other aspect of this, that you are getting a revenue stream that is important, is making your television partner happy. Whether that's CBS or ESPN, I think those conferences definitely want that money because they need that money. They have lost all the revenue from any gates this year, and they are trying whatever they can to make sure the television revenue stream remains a viable product, a viable revenue.
A lot of decisions to be made, and tonight some big games in the SEC, a different SEC schedule, and part of that, if it goes off on Thursday, Ole Miss will tip at 4:00. Pregame will be heard right here at 3:30. So we'll be knocked off on Thursday for that, to accommodate the game that was added on the fly between Ole Miss and LSU.
Yeah. Let me ask you. Mike Oresco brought up and he brought it up on his own because we didn't dive that deep into it. We just asked about expansion. He mentioned possibly 14 teams. We know because of the leaked memo, as he mentioned, that Boise is prominent in that discussion. If Boise were to come and they're going to add more than one, well, certainly BYU becomes a figure because that would be a travel partner, another reason to go out west. That kind of makes some sense. Who would be the third team that you would add?
It's easy. It should be Arkansas State.
Well, you keep pushing Arkansas State, but I'm not sure that's the same sort of prestigious connotation that you get with BYU and Boise.
But their area for all the non-revenue sports, it makes for easy travel partners. And in football, they're as square as many that are already in that league.
Well, it certainly would open up the door for them. Would you rather have that than, say, UAB that brings Birmingham into the picture and is further away from Memphis?
Birmingham's not in the picture.
Well, I don't know why it wouldn't be unless you're saying you think Arkansas State is because you have inside info.
No, I'm saying that in Birmingham, people are interested in Alabama and Auburn.
Well, that is true. That is true. Now, UAB basketball, there were several years that Birmingham, just the city.
No conference realignments about basketball.
No, that is true. But they are building a new stadium. Just food for thought. I don't really know who he is referring to. And Arkansas State could be one of those. Could very well be one that would come into play. I don't know of any other that unless it would be, and Creighton doesn't play football, so you really wouldn't be after that. I really don't know who the fourth team could be, but he mentioned 14, so that was kind of intriguing to me. This portion of the show brought to you by Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and free brewery. Yes, sir. You see how cold it is outside. John's always trying to spark business, and by doing that, he does this every year. He gives away a Carrier 80% gas furnace free if you buy a standard Carrier air conditioning system. That's right. You get the air conditioning system in the month of February. You get a free furnace, and there's a lot of other freebies. A free April air cleaner to make sure that all the dust of your home is taken out. A 10-year parts warranty, well, that's complimentary. It's free. And so is the free Nest thermostat. That's about $2,000 worth of freebies. And then you're going to get 12 months interest free. That's why it's free brewery. All you got to do is make the call. 384-3511. 384-3511. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and free brewery. We take our last time out. When we come back, it'll be Taco Bell crunch time.
Get your fill of sports for lunch every weekday on Sports 56 Middays with Greg and Eli. The latest sports talk, sought after guests, your calls and texts, prize giveaways, and more every weekday from 10 to 1 on Sports 56.
It may be cold outside, but your deals keep getting hotter and hotter, Jeff. Hey, let's conquer the cold and gear up for winter with the Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah President's Day sales event.
We got you covered, Randy. Let's talk. 2021 Kia Forte, $133 a month lease. 2021 Kia Soul, redesigned inside and out, $149 a month lease. And a 2021 Kia K5, $182 a month lease. All just 36 months, $3149 due at signing.
That's what I'm talking about, Jeff. Plus, every Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah comes with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah, 2680 Mount Moriah, or KiaMountMoriah.com.
All 36-month leases, $3149 due at signing, 0 security deposit, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, $650 acquisition fee, Forte, ME3 19038, MSRP $20,625, sold M7755 $638, MSRP $20,660, K5 MG 005560, MSRP $25,725, include all manufacturer rebates and incentives, PF $695, excludes tax filing license, with approved credit, see dealer for complete details, offer valid through 3/1/21, dealer stock only.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
2021 is finally here. Might I suggest we start the wonderful new year with a makeover for your beautiful house. I'm Brian Elder. I'm a roofer. I fix roofs. Don't let them tell you that it has to be replaced when all it may need is some love. 867-0303. Let me love on your roof. I've made quite the reputation over the last decade as the guy to call after the insurance company denies the claim. Overturning a claim that has gone bad is an art form where you argue county code, manufacturer specs, and details of your policy that they have to abide by. So let me see it first. If I say it's a claim, it's a claim. 867-0303. Money is free at Brian Elder Roofing with 0% financing for half a decade. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you a quote right over the phone. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm a big fan of Town Village, and there is always something to do year-round. Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $24.50. The Gourmet Chef welcomes you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, monthly coffee club, themed dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel or Bo at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Final portion of this Christmas Tuesday, and more coming. More snow for sure coming tomorrow, maybe late tonight. This portion of the show brought to you by one of the great success stories going on, Grind City Brewing and their brand new craft malt liquor. It's called Tiger Tail. So good that it is now going to be in Kroger's. This is not your ordinary malt liquor, I promise. It is crafted with bold and smooth flavors. It has a 7.5% alcohol content, so you get a little kick there, and it's got a clean finish that makes it incredibly easy drinking. This is coming from the father and son duo that have brought you this great brewery that sits in uptown Memphis, 15,000 square feet of beerness, a 5,000 square foot tap room, and they're all about Memphis. And so they brought this whole thing together with the University of Memphis to have an official craft beer. And that's what Tiger Tail has become, and it's so good, you can now pick it up in Kroger. We officially enter crunch time.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskell.
Boop! Choo-choo!
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
All one. On two. On three. Hey!
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day. Learned today that every single caddy polled by Golf Week on the PGA Tour, not that it was every single one on the tour, but every one that they polled, they're all opposed to the rangefinders. They say it will greatly slow down play, not speed it up, that they will get more finite, more minutia, and if play gets slow on the tour, you know where it works down to. It works down to the weekend player, because then they got to play slow and methodical because they see it on TV and they think that makes them look smart, and they need to remember, most of you are playing for a beer.
I know.
What'd you
I saw
learn,
that
Dave?
story. I saw that story, and I still don't quite understand how they think it'll slow it down, but that is exactly what they think. I was amazed. I learned today that the Memphis area did pretty darn well in the final high school rankings, even though none of the Memphis Shelby County schools were able to play the public schools. Houston was number 1 in the public AAA. That was nice. Bartlett was number 7 in the private school, Division 2, in the bigger division. Christian Brothers number 1, MUS number 5, ECF number 5 in the smaller division. We wish them the best of luck in their state tournaments.
Could have done without the news about Anthony Davis. It says 2 to 3 weeks for the reevaluation. It's going to be about the 1st of April before he's back. I hate it for him. Superstar player. Got his championship last year. And we know that he's always injury prone, but he's going to be out until about April 1st. And something always seems to get him. And he had been hurting before the injury occurred, but at least it's not the Achilles, but it's going to be a while before he's back. It's not a simple injury. Dave, what is it you could have done with that?
Mine are NBA related too. The Boston Celtics Tatum is still feeling the effects of COVID a month after he got sick. The numbers for Tatum are down too, and they are worried. He says he has sometimes, not all the time, but some breathing issues when he's really exerting himself. And the Atlanta mayor, Keisha Lance Bottoms, tells NBA fans, don't bother coming to Atlanta to party for the All-Star game. This is a made-for-TV-only event. Please don't come. That's the first time you'll ever hear a mayor saying, we don't want anybody coming for tourism. But she's serious about this, and I just don't understand. I guess that All-Star game must bring a lot of television revenue to the league, because I don't understand why they're pushing it so hard.
They are hell-bent to have it, aren't they? Dave, stay warm. We will visit with you tomorrow.
I look forward to it, man. I will try and put my heater up.
Thank you, Dave. We'll talk with Dave tomorrow, keeping a close eye on TNT in town for Pels and Grizzlies at FedEx Forum. 7 o'clock, Zion's first FedEx Forum game. Boy, just like the All-Star game, Zion comes to town, you can't go. It got a late good one on TV later tonight in Phoenix against Brooklyn. 4 seed in the West, Phoenix against the 3 seed right now in the East. I don't know what the over and under is on that, but get your FanDuel out and go on the over, because I think it'll be a lot of points scored in that game. Temple at Tulsa in the AAC, 4-8 against 9-9. 2 bad teams in a bad league. And tonight in frigid Northwest Arkansas at Bud Walton Arena, the Gators needed much more than Arkansas. Arkansas got their badly needed win against Mizzou. It wouldn't hurt to bolster that resume tonight with a win over the Gators. But Florida needs it, because it's kind of between Florida, LSU, and Ole Miss. That's going to be the tournament to decide who's not going. I think only 6 will go. I don't think the SEC will get 7. And Ole Miss and LSU, they play Thursday night. Florida, they need to keep winning. This afternoon, I didn't even see the final, but Iowa State played this afternoon against Oklahoma State. I didn't even look at the final. Iowa State were 2-14 going into that game. And Drew, do you realize that Tyler Harris is only averaging 7 points for a 2-14 team? I hope that transfer worked out for him.
It sounds like it definitely did. I mean, it makes no sense why he decided to do it, but if he's much happier at Iowa State, best of luck to him.
They lost 74-58, so 2-15, average 7 points. And look, it's not any warmer in Memphis right now than it is in Ames, but it will be next week.
Yeah, it will.
And he's still going to be in Ames next week. So it's not always greener, and it wasn't for him this year with his transfer out of Memphis. Want to thank Ron Tillery joining us, talking NBA and the Grizzlies, Brent Beard on all things college sports, Mike Oresco, and the audio is up. It featured audio on our website, sports56whbq.com. He was great, as always, with his time and with his information. Bo Marchant talking the NFL. Thank you to him. For Dave, for Drew, I'm Brett. Stay warm. Keep battling the good battle. It'll get warm soon, and we want you back with us tomorrow at 3. Good night, everyone.